have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Good evening, hello, good morning, whatever part of the world you're tuning in from. Welcome to the Spurs Five. We're back once again. Apologies that we don't have Johnny and Sean on tonight. Johnny has got a charity function, which he told us about last week, so he will be at that. And Sean, who was a massive advocate of the street parade before the Forest game, he went to the parade and he's still there. He's partying and drinking and socialising in the streets. And if there is a different version to what I've just said, then Sean needs to come on the show and explain, because that's the one we're going to go with. So, Sean, you enjoy yourself drinking on the streets of Tottenham. Please smash a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. And if you are a fan of apparel and sportswear down there, OK Jersey, code 5 for your discounts. Just a couple of quick messages before we introduce Sava and Lubo. James Flower will be with us at approximately 9 p.m. So do wait for James. He always has a good take, apparently, on Tottenham. First of all, apologies from me for last week's show. It was my fault. The video got taken down. We all agreed it was in the best interest. So apologies from me, everyone. We all have a bad day, and that was my one. Secondly, regardless of what we think of the manager, we were all told that Tudor couldn't do the press conference after the match. We know why now. So, look, condolences and best wishes to him and his family. It's not like losing a loved one, let alone a parent. So, you know, all the best to Tudor and family and whatnot. Sava, how you doing? Welcome to the show. You're back.
Yeah, I thought, as Tudor's made them fitter and better, and patterns are playing to them, and as we beat Forest 3-0, I thought it would be nice to jump on for a nice positive show still. So thanks for having me. It's lovely to be here.
There you go.
This is going to be a very positive show indeed. Lubo, you feeling positive tonight?
Always positive. You know me. Sometimes delusional, but positive. Got to stay positive. Even with this shower we've got.
Always stay positive. Look, there's plenty to discuss tonight. Obviously, there's the pre-match fanfare, the match itself, the post-match fallout, particular players, the games coming up. Where does this leave Tottenham? And then we've been linked with new football directors, managers, etc., etc., etc. But look, I wasn't at the game. Savin wasn't at the game. Lubo, I know you didn't attend the parade, but look, there was a massive, massive gathering of fans. It was billed as the best fans in the world, and we're behind you. Show up, sing up, stay up. And look, what did you hear about it? What did you make of it? What was the general vibe with regards to the team bus parade pre-match?
I think it was interesting. I was having a chat with Chris this afternoon, and he was saying that, it's a club that at the moment everyone hates each other. We haven't been keen on the players. I mean, you think about the players getting booed pretty much every game these days. Vinay took a mouthful on Saturday. I'm sure you guys saw the video going around. People aren't happy. It's a very unhappy, toxic club at the moment. So that if fans have tried to be positive, I don't think there's anything wrong in fans showing love for a club. It's just a shame that the players didn't reciprocate after half time. Just really, really disappointing. The other thing I wanted to say is that all these fans that care so much and want to get behind the team must be looking at what's been going on at the club. They've all, I'm sure the vast majority of them have been fans, if not nowhere near as long as me, but at least they've been fans since the Poch era, and they've seen how things have deteriorated since then. And nobody wants to air their views pre-match about the owners. So it's positive on the front that on as far as supporting the team's concerned. The team are in the most horrendous run. I've in 60 years of following the club, I've never ever seen a run like this. 2 wins in 21 games is just appalling. We won more in the year we went down in 76, 77. But for me, it's, you've got to, fans have got a voice. They've got to, fine, support the team is great. For me, it's support the team, hate the regime. You can do both. You can do both and still be a good fan. It was a positive that the fans turned out. I just think it's a negative that they don't turn out for the protests, and they don't care as much about the overall situation. For me, because if the fans can turn up for that, they can turn up for a demo. So that's how I felt. It was a little bit bittersweet seeing it all going on.
Sav, let me come to you. We had Connor on the show on Monday. Now he's part of Change for Tottenham now, helping them out. And fair play to him that he came on. It's not easy coming on, as you know, debating people with your face and your voice publicly out there in the open for everyone to just pick off or praise, whichever way they want to go. I personally shared my opinion with Connor, saying I was against this parade. I really didn't understand where we were going with it. And I felt it should just be an all-out protest, ENIC out. And that's my stance on it. Now, where are you at with it, Sam? Because there was a massive turnout. There's a lot of fans that turned up for this. So, how do you feel?
I wasn't for it. I wasn't against it. I just don't get it. I just don't understand what the purpose was. I don't understand what the aim was. I don't understand the timing. I said to you yesterday, had this have been Everton at home, last game of the season, Spurs must win on the last day to stay up, I kind of get it. Do you know what I mean? I kind of get the big fanfare, come on, we're right behind you. It's this or the championship. I didn't get it. I'm not sure. And for me, and we've talked about this a lot. I know this is something that you agree with me on. I know Lubo doesn't. I think that the one thing that this team and this football club has shown year after year is they cannot handle is pressure. And for me, this put a spotlight on Spurs and put pressure on them. And as always, the players crumbled. They can't cope with pressure. So, look, I've got nothing against anyone that did it. I've got no bad words to say about them. I didn't get it still. I wasn't sure. Was this meant to make the players look out and go, come on, we've been underperforming, let's get going? Was this meant to be the fans that have been booing them all season at the ground suddenly now going, actually, we love you, we're in trouble, you've got to do better? I don't get it, but each to their own, right? I'm not going to say any negative words. Look, I like Billy, obviously I'm friends with Connor, but I didn't and still don't understand it, because now that they've done that and then we've gone and got absolutely annihilated in a massive 6-pointer in a relegation battle to the team that were 1 point below us, it doesn't show me what you could ask the question, what did it do? And they say they're going to keep doing it at the games after for what? Sorry, my overall feeling, I don't get it, but each to their own.
I don't think they're going to get the numbers for the next one. I think the credit in the bank, so to speak, or the opportunity to make it land has been blown out the water now, because that parade had zero impact on that team. And the whole point of that parade was to get behind the team, and nothing happened. So that makes the parade completely pointless. What was the point of it if the team go and do that? And I don't think now, if they try and do it again, they're going to get that kind of support. My view. I mean, do you guys have anything else to say on it, or should we get into the game itself?
Well, the end was empty. The South Stand was pretty much empty by the final whistle. Most, a lot of people left on 80, 85. And when that third goal went in on 87, the place virtually emptied, and the team got booed
Well,
off.
But doesn't that show why it's pointless? Sorry.
Yeah.
Doesn't that show, like, Lubo, if everyone's going to stand before the game and go, what are we, one club, one fan base, we're together, always together, and then as soon as we're 2-0 down, everyone starts leaving, it's kind of like, so you didn't mean that we're all together. It doesn't mean that we're all behind the lads. It means as soon as something goes wrong, we're just going to walk out. So I don't understand it. I just don't. And it's nothing to do, like the chat are saying, with me not understanding supporting Tottenham. I just don't get it. I didn't understand
it. I'll back you up. Listen, I'll back you up here. And if Lubo wants to push back, let's debate it. When they put out this statement, so I'm not going to read it all out. You can go online and find it. There's things the first sentence they lost me where it says Tottenham Hotspur means everything to us. It always has. But if it meant everything to you, then you'd be challenging this ownership far greater than what you are, because you all know that they're the problem. But this bit here, to every single player wearing our shirt, we walk out with you and we remain behind you, whatever may come. Whatever may come, we're behind you. At 2-0, Sky Sports are reporting the fans are heading for the exits. At 3-0, these are stadium shots at 3-0.
Yeah.
Right? Remain with you to the end. And then the fans, like Sava said, they're booing. So the same fans that are behind this mantra of we remain behind you, whatever may come, this big slogan, all together always, they walk out at 2-0, they walk out in huge numbers at 3-0, and then they wait to the end, the ones that did remain, to boo the players. Lubo, does any of that make sense to you? Because to me, it's just contradiction upon contradiction.
They tried to turn it round, the fans, before the game, and they ended up reverting to type at the end of the game. So there is no point. If you're going to get behind the team, you get behind the team and you stick with the team, and however bad they are, you stay with them right to the end. And I know it's very difficult when the home team, as a home fan, you've only seen 4 wins out the last 30 games since the 3rd of November 24. It's a most appalling record, dreadful record. We lost 10 last season, and we've lost 10 already this season, and we've still got 3 to go. I mean, that's dreadful. We've lost 10 out of 16 at home, and I just think it's fans want to get behind the team, and I think that's great. Fans should support the team. The team are in a massive hole. They're hurtling towards the championship at the rate of knots at the moment. And obviously fans want to get behind the team and they don't want their team to be relegated. But if you're going to do it, then follow it through and stay to the end and cheer the team and, get behind or not cheer the team, but commiserate at the end of the match. If you're going to be there for always, then, follow it through. If people are going to go and they're going to, on the ones that stay are going to boo, a lot of them, then there's no point really. It's all for show at the start. It's literally, you've got to, if you're going to say something, you've got to mean it and you've got to follow through on it. You can't just say it and do it to look good, and then when things get tough, you run for the hills. It's we've had enough of that with Romero opening his mouth about the club and then getting sent off 4 days later against Man United and getting banned for 4 games. If you're gonna stay with the team, stay with the team, support the team. I didn't clap them off, but I didn't leave before the end yesterday.
See, this was Lubo. This was one of the massive risks of doing this parade. If it doesn't work, we look like complete idiots and we become a laughing stock, which is what we've become now. All the other football clubs are looking at us thinking, "You bunch of idiots."
I think the groups.
It felt like we motivated the opposition than what we did more our own players. If you look at the result.
Well, that's where it can be counterproductive as well, isn't it? Because the opposition who yesterday played very well throughout. They were very controlled throughout. Forest. and that probably added as an extra motivation. So it doesn't help. I think the various groups, it's so toxic at the club, and there are so many things that need to be put right. And I think fans generally feel a bit helpless, and I think the groups feel they've got to do something. But if you're going to do something, then you've got to think about it, and you've got to work out what the best thing to do is with the maximum impact. And something that's sensible, something that's well thought out. And this is where I think the various groups who were involved yesterday, I think, have got to get together. There's got to be one fan group formed. Depending on what, if they're going to go the ENIC out route, you call it ENIC outs. You're going to get behind your team, stay in the ground, cheer your team throughout, try and lift the team if they go 1 down, 2-0 down. The ground was pretty quiet second half. It was like, the goal before half time, the balloon just burst, and that was it. And they came out second half and they were completely deflated. But I say,
Luke, let me bring something back in.
The fans don't have to do anything. It's like they feel that's something they've got to do, and they're not going to demonstrate. So what are they going to do? They want to get behind the club. I don't know. I don't know where it goes. I think fans have just got to get behind the club for the last 7 games. These gatherings are unnecessary. You're right. If it was try and put the logic behind it. It's a massive 6-pointer. We're in the SH. Fans want to come out, show the club we're supporting them. Let's see if we can lift them for this. This is what is a big 6-pointer. You've got to look at it and you've got to think to yourself, well, Forest, when you look at the end of the season, at the moment we're just heading down. So this game won't make the difference that Lloris's penalty save at Wembley to get us in the top 4 over Arsenal made in the March. I don't know.
Let me bring Sabrin. Right? Luba, I actually agree with pretty much everything you just said. I actually agree with everything you pretty much just said. Sava, is it even worth the fans arranging with the club and all the fan groups to salute the team bus when the reality is what we do outside the stadium clearly has zero impact on what happens on the pitch? The fans have been with the team throughout the whole season. Pretty much every away game, the fans have packed out the stands. Pretty much most home games, bar of the odd cup European night where the tickets have been more expensive, the fans have packed out the stadium. Where are you at with this? Because it can't be you have that big jamboree and then that happens on the pitch. It defeats the point of having that gathering. Isn't it down to the players and the manager in this current situation, not the fans? Or do you disagree?
No, I agree. Look, I'm somebody who I don't think this is a very good squad of footballers. For me, I don't think that they've not been playing well because they don't feel the fans are behind them. I think they're not playing very well because they're not very good. Right? I feel the club's an absolute mess and it's not very good. Now, clearly, whatever happened yesterday didn't spur the players on enough to go and win. Now, whether that's because they just didn't care or whether it's because they haven't got the ability, we'll never know. But for me, I go back to my earlier statement. I'm not sure what it was meant to do. That's the point for me here still. I don't know what it was meant to do. And it all looks very PR-y now. When you look back at it now, it's a game before a 3-week international break where it's not the be-all and end-all. Like, that game doesn't decide who goes down or not. It doesn't matter. Whoever tells you it does, it doesn't. There's still 21 points to play for. I would have got it at the end of the season. I didn't get it then. I don't think it affects what happens on the pitch. Let's be fair, right? We didn't have one of those before Atletico Madrid and we won, right? We had a massive one of those before a massive game in the Premier League and we lost. What's there's no correlation. There's no rules. There's no science to it. Listen, I've got nothing wrong with people wanting to get behind the players. But I think the key thing for me is the moment it started going wrong, that goes out the window completely, and suddenly we're not all together, right? And look, the players were all sitting. The players have been interviewed this week. I mean, they did one with Danso, didn't they? God, we've heard about the plans, and it's going to mean the world to us. And then they go out and play like that. Like, what do you like? I don't know. It just feels. I tell you
The
where
Romero video. The Romero video was the cringe one, I think.
Yeah. Would any of the like, we want to talk about being a big six club, which I think is dead now, but would any of those other 5 clubs have done that? I don't think they would have. Nottingham Forest don't even do that. Like Wolfie said to us, didn't he, over the weekend? Wolfie turned around and said, this for them is just another game. This is business as usual. Turn up, play your game, get your points. We kind of turned this big game into a circus. I feel like it took all of the heat off how bad we actually were on the day, because now we've started the show talking about a meet-up rather than just what a diabolical performance that was yesterday.
I know. I've got to say, Sav, though, you said what other teams. Johnny and I were at Anfield a couple of years ago when we lost 4-2. We went on a Sunday afternoon for the match, and you walk through Stanley Park, and you get down towards where the ground is, and right near where the away end is, and the Liverpool team bus came along. There were thousands.
Yeah, but they weren't in a relegation battle.
No. But there were thousands greeting the coach. It must have been an hour and a half before kickoff, and it was absolutely mobbed, just mobbed. And the atmosphere then, you could feel the atmosphere. And I'll be honest with you, walking along the high road yesterday may have been. I got into the high road about.
Lubo, can I ask you a question on that before you carry on?
Go on.
Did that feel natural or did it feel forced? Because our one felt forced.
Well, I wasn't there. What I can say is that I walked along the high
at
road.
Liverpool. When you're at Liverpool, did it feel like a natural thing that the fans do?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Club.
They love their culture. Yeah.
It's a love. The fans show their love at Liverpool. Like, there aren't many clubs that match it. You hear it.
Isn't it desperation though, Lubo? Aren't we at the stage where, we're at utter desperation, and fans are now so desperate that what can we do? Let's show the team bus some love. In reality, what does me standing outside a bus going, come on, what does that actually? What does it do?
Listen, I think the last time the Spurs fans did anything like this was about 20-something years ago when the Arsenal coach came along Tottenham High Road with Sol Campbell.
Right.
That was the last match. I just felt that walking on the high roads yesterday, there was a buzz in the air. There was everybody was really looking forward to it. You can walk along the high roads and it feels dead. It feels flat. Yesterday it didn't. Got into the grounds. We had a colleague that was over from the state, a colleague of my son's, someone who he's working with, who's come across from New York that wanted to go to a Premier League game. My son went on the website, went on the ticket exchange and got one for him 3 hours before kickoff, and it was right next to the two of us. He thought it was amazing. My son took him. He wanted to have a look around the ground. We got in the grounds. He wanted to see the longest bar in Europe. So he took him behind where the South Stand fans are, and the place was rocking, absolutely rocking. Mind you, they've probably been, if you're drinking, if you got 2 pints for one from 12:15, I'm not surprised. So, the whole thing ultimately was the atmosphere.
Isn't that what made it a circus, Lubo? Isn't that what made it a circus? It wasn't just a meeting. It turned into the club adding a promotion off the back of it. So you've got these groups for Tottenham that are meant to be about eating it out. It's meant to be about you have run our club terribly, to now working with the club. And now off the back of that, the club have then gone, I'll tell you what, let's have a 2-for-1 beer. All of a sudden, I'm looking at it going, hang on. So is this about cheering the players on, or is this about an extra beer? Or sorry, change for Tottenham, by the way. And I'll say this, sorry if they don't like me for saying this, but they were working in cahoots with the club. They're meant to be completely against everything the club have done. Like, surely partnering with them now just completely goes against anything they've done.
Which I think is why we were talking about it on your show earlier today, weren't we, Sav? You need a new, completely independent group of people.
Agreed.
Who are gonna think about this, set up a database, find out what people's thoughts are, etc., and look at other ways of protesting against the club. Because
Lubo, let me tell you something.
The process don't work. You and Brian tried it. Change for Tottenham have tried it. They had reasonable success with a couple.
No, Lubo, let me tell you this, right? Nothing is going to work. That's why this whole delegation thing, I've been running with it. And I'll tell you why nothing will work. There's teams around Europe right now that are fuming with their owners. Lazio is a good example. When you look at the action their fan groups are taking, we aren't even a shadow on any of that. If ever there was a season in the last 30 years for fans to say, right, I've had enough. 8 managers in 5 years, £900 million wasted on players that aren't good enough. Manager after manager, project after project, lie after lie, recruitment after recruitment officer, director of football after director of football, academy players that never play for this club. That's it. Enough. This was that season. And then you add a relegation battle to it. For fans not to naturally want to do something about the board, Lubo, it's never going to happen. I honestly believe that now.
Yeah,
because if you can't feel that way now, you never will. Unless we get relegated. But even then, I think our fans might just get on with it. I think we might just get on with it still.
I don't. I think you'll have crowds of 35,000, 35 to 40 as against the 60s we've been getting. I think they'll lose a big chunk of the fans next season. I genuinely do.
Yeah, but what I mean is, there'll be more fans boycotting. Okay.
Still, it's already started. We've had five home Champions League games this year. There were 52,000 unsold seats.
Yeah. For
Champions League. We're not talking Europa or Conference. We're talking Champions League. And fans are not stupid. We're not going to be in the Champions League for a few years. This was the last opportunity. We got in by default. We were 17th last year. We won the Europa League. You know, you wouldn't normally have a team who finished 17th in their league in the Champions League. I can't remember can't ever remember that happening, ever. So that was an anomaly. And fans still didn't get behind it. And probably also because the club outpriced, overpriced, should I say. The tickets and outpriced a lot of fans. There is there's a cost of living crisis going on. The club don't seem to have recognised that. They just don't seem to get it. There's nobody there with any awareness. Just there's no football knowledge. There's just nothing, and that's why I fear if we go down this year and it's starting to look that way, we're going to struggle next year. And
did anyone at the stadium yesterday? Did anyone at the stadium yesterday? Was there any Enoch out chance? Was there anything? Right. So you're kind of. This is what I mean.
They boo the players, but they boo the players that they said we're together forever, always. You boo the players, the people that you had this big jamboree for to back, and yet Enoch just walk off into the sunset. I did see, Sava, to be fair, I did see in the West Ham, Vinay got some pelters from people in the West Ham. I did see some videos, a little bit.
You would listen. Look, at the end of the day, as I said, each to their own. I'm not knocking anyone that went. Fair play to them. They did what they thought was right. But I was going to go when I thought it was a protest. Right? I was told by Change for Tottenham there was a protest. I put out a video asking for all YouTube channels to unite to spread the word. I then get loads and loads of people messaging me saying, "What's happening with the protest? Where is the meat?" I messaged Change for Tottenham saying, "What?" And they say, "Oh, we're not sure. We'll let you know next week." And then the next week is, "Oh, we're not protesting now. We're going to cheer the bus." And I'm like, cool. So Enoch out isn't really a thing, is it? If it can be dropped like that, if it can be dropped and cancelled like that, it's not really a cause that people believe in. And it goes to show that what happens outside the stadium isn't going to affect the players inside the stadium for good or bad, right? Because what I will guarantee you, if they had protested yesterday and lost, people would have said, it's because of the protest, right? But they all cheered and clapped and went mad, and then we still got battered. So, I listen, each to their own. As I said, I'm not knocking anyone that went. It just wasn't for me. For me, I'm so fed up with how this club has been run that yesterday just felt like, to me, it gave actually good PR to Tottenham Hotspur rather than showing how disgustingly the football club has been run. And if you are a movement, stick to the movement. I think that's me. If not, let someone else run that. Do you know what I mean? That's just me. But I'm not going to get dragged into it. All I care about is how shit Tottenham are at the moment, and it's not changing. That's what I care about.
Let's get into that then. Let's get into Tottenham. Unfortunately,
sure.
Let's
get
do
into
that.
That'll be more fun.
So, big 6-pointer, biggest game ever. Yada yada yada. The starting lineup was announced, and initially we thought it's going to a back three: Danzo, Romero, Van der Ven, with Porro and Spence attacking fullbacks, Gray and Sarr in the middle, Richie, Solanke, Tell up front. But it turned out that Van der Ven was left back, Porro was right back, Gray and Sarr in the middle, with
Spence was right back still.
Beg your pardon, Spence was right back. Beg your pardon, Spence was right back, Van der Ven was left back. And then we had Gray and Sarr in the middle, with Porro right wing, Tell left wing, Solanke and Richie up front in a 4-4-2. No sign of Xavi Simons after the midweek game that he had, which everyone was really happy with. And also no Paulinho in the 6, which a lot of people, again, were surprised with. It finished 3-0. Spurs effectively battered. Igor Jesus, who hasn't scored in God knows how long, got a goal. Gibbs White, who was their main man, someone who I spoke about on my preview to this, he scored, and Awoniyi scored at the end as well. The stats for the game: Spurs had more possession, 59%, compared to Forest 41%. We had more shots, but we had only 3 on target. They had 7. We had more passing, but of course that's because we had more possession. Clear-cut chances: they had 3. They scored all 3. We had 2. We didn't score any. 13 corners to their 3. So if you look at the stats, you'd say, well, Spurs kind of were the better team. My personal take was this, guys, and then I'll bring it to you. All those corners meant nothing because they had 2 quality centre-backs that just dealt with it for fun, which they've been doing for most games. So set pieces into the box wasn't going to be the way for us to win this game with those 2 centre-backs. And they've got a top goalkeeper. I felt we needed more creativity in the middle. Of course, Simons barely came on. Interesting stat. Pape Sarr played 90 minutes. Archie Gray played 84 minutes. Paulinho played 0 minutes. Gallagher played 6 minutes. And Xavi Simons played 23 minutes. So the experienced midfielders we had, they had the least amount of time. The least experienced midfielders we had in the biggest game of the season had most of the game time. Look, I wasn't happy with the team lineup. I would have definitely started Paulinho and said, you're on Morgan Gibbs-White. He scored the most goals for Forest. He creates the most big chances. He's their danger man in midfield. I would put someone on him. Anderson, I felt, controlled that game, especially second half. Yeah. Up front, creativity-wise, we had nothing. Tell from the wing, a lot of puff, a lot of energy, but again, no end product. And that second half, the substitutions to bring on Bergvall and Udogie and not bring on Paulinho or Simons, I felt we lost complete control of the game off the back of those subs, and Forest went on to deservedly win it. So that was my take on it. It was a disaster class from Tudor. I can't understand why 2 players in particular never got to start the game. But even then, I thought the players, second half, even if you're 1-0 down, they showed that once again, a little bit of adversity and they crumble. They've got nothing. They've got no fight in them when the pressure is on. I spoke about this all week. Pressure. And that was pressure. And we crumbled. So, Sava or Lubo, who wants to go first on this? Where do you want to go?
I would say that we kind of deserved the defeat. This manager didn't set up a team to go in and try and win the game at home, did he? We're in a relegation battle, and you're going into play against a midfield 3 that we know plays each week, right? And you go in and put a weak midfield in terms of physicality of Sarr and Gray against 3 players. And you just look at that and go, what are you doing? Why in a game like this is there not the experience of a Paulinho, for example? Why at home against a team that have struggled to score goals, why are you not playing the player this year that's created the most chances in a Spurs shirt? And for all the people that go, he hasn't had a good year, we don't see anything in him. He's the most creative player at the football club. He is the most creative player at the football club whilst James Maddison is injured. And we go into a home game with no creative player, and the only tactic we had was to spam balls into the box. Right?
Big issue.
That's the problem for me, right? And this is what everyone said. This manager will do something. Everyone said we're starting to see patterns of play from him. They're playing for him now. They like him. They like him better than Frank. This is different. This is better. This manager is absolutely horrific, right? He got the team wrong. He's getting the formation wrong. We look like conceding every single time a team comes forward still. It doesn't matter who the team is. They look like scoring a goal against us. This is a Nottingham Forest team that can't score goals. They cannot and have not been scoring goals. And then they go bang, bang, bang. In 45 minutes, they get 3 goals against us if you either side of the break, right? And I don't mind if a manager gets something wrong. Managers get things wrong. But then when you get to half time, you address it.
Yeah.
And he made it worse. At half time, he made it worse. We're all sitting there thinking, well, Xavi Simons has got to come on as a creator. He's got to.
Yeah.
And he brings on Bergvall to play off the right, and Bergvall's not a right winger. He puts Porro to right back, where Jed Spence is the better defender, and Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi's pace will always get him behind Porro because Porro can't defend. Mickey van der Ven, who's got the pace up against Hutchinson, he takes him off and puts on a Dogie who's not properly fit. And you're just looking at it all going, and this isn't a hate pile on still on Tudor. When you're looking at it going, I don't get anything you've done today. I do not get. You have a really good win against Atleti, and then the players that grabbed you the 3 goals are all hooked, right? Both players that scored the goals are hooked. The creative player's hooked. Paulinho's back from his concussion. You're going, right, you've got Sangare who's strong, Anderson who's strong, Gibbs-White who's strong. You've got to get a strong lad in midfield. Nope. He puts 2. Listen, Gray's technically whatever, but he's not strong right now, right? Sarr is not strong. And I'm just looking at it all going, we deserved that. Like, Forest were the better team. It doesn't matter if we had more possession. Forest controlled the game without the possession. Forest at no point looked under pressure. At no point. And you are bang on still. Sorry for the rant. You are bang on still, right? Why would your tactic be to spam crosses into the box when Murillo and Milenkovic live and breathe that battle? They love that battle, and Spurs went, I know what we'll do. We just keep crossing it. And the last thing I'll say, I'm so... Spurs this year, one of the things we've been really good at is set pieces, right? We whip in those set pieces, and Van der Ven, Romero, Dan, whoever it is, yeah, we're good at them, right? Richie, Stank. Now we've gone to this weird floaty Matisse Tell corner that keeps going over everybody towards the back, and you're like, why have we come away from that? So for me, I think he got everything absolutely terribly wrong. I thought Forest were well worth their money, and I am truly worried that we are getting relegated. Sorry, that's where I'm at. And if that's negative, people can call me negative in the chat, but I keep being called negative and I'm not seeing any change. So,
Lubo, right? You just heard what Savas had to say. Tudor came in to save us from relegation. He's a quick bounce reaction manager, get a tune out of them. His first 4 games, we got 1 point out of 12. We then got annihilated in Madrid, but then there was a bit of a bounce in the second leg. Tudor suddenly got lots of support and lots of encouragement. We've got to stick with him now off the back of those 2 games, ignoring the 4 games where we only picked up 1 point. And where some of us said, look, pressure, guys, what about when it gets back to pressure? And yet that was dismissed. And after the game yesterday, that's 1 point out of 15, the complete opposite of what he came in to do.
Sure.
And we conceded 3 goals, Lubo, to a team that's been struggling to score 1 goal, let alone 2 in the past 2 months. They put 3 past us. Where are you at with Tudor now and these players? Because again, there was that little positive patch everyone jumped on, went a bit too soon, in my opinion. Well, fact. And then it was just a disaster again. Back to what we've been since, the end of Frank and pretty much all of Tudor's reign in the Premier League.
Well, I'll tell you how I see it. And I'm probably one of those fans still, because I walked out of the Newcastle game, and I just said to my son, if Frank stays, we're not going to get another point, another win. This is just dreadful. At the end of the day, there was no effort. There was no closing down. There was nothing. I mean, Newcastle could have been 6 up at half time. So Tudor's walked in. Why does a manager take over? Manager takes over during a season because the team's not playing well. And he walks in a lot of the time into a shit show, which he has walked into. This isn't just this season. This has been, you showed stats. We've had 3 years since Conte left on March the 18th, I think it was, 2023. It's been absolutely dreadful. So Tudor's come in, and yes, okay, if he's Arsenal, you're not expecting anything. Fulham was poor. Palace we're down to 10 men, and after Mickey went off, the team fell apart. They just didn't get to grips with with the way it was working out, and Liverpool was a better result. So you think to yourself, Atletico Madrid, and you're a bit more positive. You're not going to pull back 3 goals. We were never, unfortunately, because Tell didn't make the right decision. That could have been interesting if we'd have been 2 up and a goal behind. It didn't happen, and Madrid were comfortable throughout. I think that was the last opportunity we got to go 1 goal behind them. And I was optimistic. The way I looked at it was, he's walked into a mess. He's trying different things out. The guy shouldn't have been given the job. He doesn't know anything about the Premier League. He's come in. It doesn't look as though he's done his homework. I mean, how can you do, Frank probably had weeks and weeks to do his homework before the season started. And he was also a Premier League manager for 4 years. So, so he would have seen, he knows the players. We're asking Tudor to do his homework and be up to speed in a week, which is going to be impossible. But the one thing that disappointed me with yesterday, and just going back to the tactics that you mentioned just now, Sad, was that when you look at a lot of the good work that was done on Wednesday, particularly between Gray and Simmons, it was done through channels and through the middle. And that's what you needed yesterday against two tall centre-backs, because they're not the fastest. They're not the quickest. And we needed people to be a little bit clever. We needed people to be clever about it. We needed Tudor to be clever with his team selection, get Simmons in, get Simmons playing, get Simmons playing nice easy balls in. I would have played Polinia. I would have kept Gray in the team. I thought his performance on Wednesday deserved it. And I would have had Simmons in there with Moani as well, because Moani is a cleverer player when he's playing than either Solanke or Richarlison. And as it turned out, Tell was the only one who looked dangerous. As soon as he went off, it was done. There was just nothing.
Lubo, how much blame do you put the result on Tudor, and how much do you put on the players in just the Forest game alone, in isolation?
Forest game,
Yeah,
I think Tudor's at fault for the initial selection for midfield and up front. I wasn't unhappy with the way Spence and Van der Ven are quick fullbacks. Danso's been playing well. Romero's your captain. You're going to keep him in, and you would probably want to make sure in a 6-pointer like that you've got Romero as well. So I wasn't unhappy with Vicario and the back four. I would have played Paulinia, I would have played Moani, and I would have played Simmons.
He's a horrible man.
So he took.
Let's call it what it is, Lubo. Tudor is a
the substitutions were poor. The players gave up after going one down, and there's no excuse for that. I thought the players' second half performance was appalling. So equal blame.
So the question
is,
between
both of them.
Okay, let's bring in the man. He's finally come back from his piss up at the parade, endorsing that jamboree. He's back.
Yeah, I just woke up and I had an insane amount of text messages saying Stell was facilitating hatred against me, and after what happened on Thursday, I thought I better come in and call that out. You know, consistency is all I look for. And apparently there's been loads of point scoring going on, which also I thought wasn't allowed under different circumstances. So, anyway, hi, everybody. The hangover wasn't bad enough to miss this one. How's everybody doing?
just to bring you up to speed, because I can tell already cherry-picked information has been distributed to you. I started off tonight's show apologising for the last show, taking responsibility and saying to the guys, can we take it down? I had a bad day at the office. Now you've come in and said that. I might just take it all back.
I literally haven't.
I might just take it all back.
That's like 10 different messages going. Butler, where are you?
To be fair, Sean. No, listen. No one was calling out point scoring, but the chat thought that you bottled it. The chat was saying that you bottled it. We didn't push that narrative.
No, listen. I get up to. I said on my show on. What day are we today? Monday. So I said on Saturday, it's a Sunday. I'm going to drive. The trains are up the wazoo. So there's every chance I might be a good boy. But also, I'm not the sort of guy that takes the good advice that I don't want to hear. I take the bad advice that I do want to hear. I park my car in the usual spot. And then I bump into, just before I even get to the pub, I bump into Connor and Shaz, who were driving past me, and then they end up getting me to get into their car, and we drive about half a mile further away from where I parked and we're in the right direction. Magnums were in the car, bad decisions were made, and then it all sort of went off the rails. And then at about 6 p.m, I was still out with the guys, and I went back to my car to find out if I could leave my car there or to find out what was going on. And the car park was already closed, so I couldn't get my car out. Couldn't get my car out of the car park, so I had to go and stay in a hotel. And then I thought, oh, you know what? All is going to go off the rails right now. But then I checked into a hotel. I checked into the Travelodge in Tottenham, and I passed out relatively early. So it could have had it gone a different way. Then you might not have seen me till Wednesday, as is often the case. But I had a fantastic day up until half time of the football, or the 43rd minute or whatever, and then I had a great time after the final whistle. But that second half was just the most disappointing, frustrating, typical Tottenham version of events that happened. But the protest, the parade, whatever it was unbelievable turnout, unbelievable fanfare. The fans clearly put in their shift, but the players and Tudor, whatever, I'm sure you guys have talked about it already, but they didn't hold up their end of the bargain, But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much have you gone through with the. I don't want to go over old ground. So have you had any pushback on your probable analysis that the parade was a mistake?
Well, we said that each. Go on, Lubo.
I think that my point here, Sean, was that if you're going to go and support the team, that can only be a positive. But if you're going to support the team, and if the message is we're with you right the way through, then stay with them right the way through. Don't piss off early. Excuse my French. Don't walk out 20 minutes from the end, and as soon as the third goal's gone in, stay to the end and commiserate with the players at the end. You know, the place was empty. I looked around at the final whistle. I mean, we got out very, very quickly.
Well, fans were booing at the end, weren't they? There was fans booing.
Fans were, but they weren't at half time. They were booing Michael Oliver.
Yeah,
100%. I saw that in the group. Oh, the fans are booing. It wasn't. They were booing the referee, Jim. I thought we made a few.
No, I meant at the end of the game, Lubo. At the end of the game.
At the end of the game, they were,
Yeah.
whoever was left. It seemed mostly.
I'm just going by what was reported. It says here, optimism turns to booze again, and then it just says that fans at the end they were booing. So,
yeah. Look, I mean, in terms of the parade thing, I'm someone who like, I go to these things because it's, for me, it's about catching up with people. It was unbelievable the amount of people that were on the high road. I got there at, what time did I arrive? I got there at 11 o'clock, right? And by the time I got out, there were thousands and thousands of people on the parade, an hour and 45 minutes before the bus was even due to turn up. You couldn't move. You literally couldn't move. I was outside the bricklayers, but like a few doors down, tucked into a cubby hole. You couldn't get past, like, for an hour and a half. It was absolutely insane. Everyone singing songs. It felt like it was a cup final, or it felt like something I hadn't experienced. I really enjoyed it. Great to meet everyone that was there that came up and said hello and stuff. It was. I had a fantastic time. And then you expect, like, every single person, everyone that I was with, the people that are, the Enoch out sort of guys that were sort of supportive of the parade, or supportive of their decision to kind of postpone the parade or postpone the protest and all that stuff. I think they were vindicated. I think the argument of whether or not the parade helped the players, obviously, clearly it didn't get them over the line, right? But whether or not, did the fans try and do their bit? 100%. 20,000 people were there. Or I reckon 20,000 people. They did their bit. I think the first half was, I think Tottenham, I know the possession stats would suggest it was like 50-50 or whatever. But I generally felt like Tottenham were in control for the most part. We were winning all of the midfield battle for the first sort of 35, 40 minutes. Every time Forest got the ball out, we were sort of recycling it pretty well. And we had lots of sort of, like, I'm not going to call them like gilt edge chances. We didn't have any shots on. We had one shot on goal in the first half, but we got to the sort of danger zone, but then didn't have any kind of any ability to put it in. I agree. What I heard Saba just before I come on, literally, as I was watching the background, I heard Saba say, and I completely agree with him. I said it in my post-match thing, the tactic of if essentially all you've got is to be throwing balls, lumping balls into the box, either from corner kicks or from open play. It's like, if you're going to look at a team and think that's probably the least likely way to get good outcomes. Nottingham Forest is a good example of one, because Murillo and Milenkovic are arguably the best two aerial defenders in the game as a partnership. And so, but look, as the game went on, I felt like Tottenham just ran out of ideas, ran out of steam, ran out of ideas. Conceding that goal at the end of the first half, I felt was a sucker punch. I thought Tottenham, if anyone deserved a goal in the first half, it was Tottenham. We got picked off. And then, as always is the case, is the reason why games don't finish 1-0 very often. They either finish 1-1 or 2-0, because you have to throw more caution to win, especially in that particular environment where it did feel like it was a cup final. And Tottenham, got picked off twice more, but ultimately in the second half, once again, it felt like there was just absolutely no plan with certain things. We get free kicks in situations on the park where we're quite central, and they just look around to each other and like, what are we doing here? And there was no movement. The players were like statues. It was getting very frustrating to watch in the second half. But for me, for the first half, I thought Tottenham were the better team, but we just couldn't find a way to get into a gilt-edged chance to score a goal, and we're a bit impotent, aren't we?
Yeah, I thought the cross for the third goal, what a ball. What a sensational ball that was. Curling away from the defence.
Lubo, what I said on my show earlier today, right, is This is why I think Igor Tudor is absolutely horrific and why I've not understood any of this hype for him all week, right? All this hype from all week. This guy has not got a clue. Every game is a different formation. Every game, it's different partnerships all over the park. Every game, strange substitutions, right? So we did this show earlier, Luba, right? Go back to basics. Vitor Pereira's got into Nottingham Forest 4-2-3-1. He plays the same 11 every week. The right-sided players are forming a partnership. The left-sided players are. The centre-backs are. The centre-mids, the forwards. Now, I know injuries don't always allow that in the main. But where possible, keep it the same. Because Nottingham Forest looked like a well-organised, well-drilled football team. And I disagree with Sean. I don't think we looked anything at all in the first half. I thought other than spamming a few balls into their box, I don't think we looked dangerous at all. I thought we had some of the ball, but we don't. Somebody described it to me yesterday as a lot of the ball and a lot of nothing. Like it was like there's a lot of the ball, but it's just constantly going from side to side. Like there's no angles to try and get into the box. You know, I thought Tell had a really good shot that was tipped onto the bar. Other than that, just spamming balls in the box. I thought Forest looked really comfortable for 90 minutes. They are well organised. Murillo and Milenkovic, they actually are centre-halves, not like our centre-halves that end up running into midfield and losing the ball in the other team's half like Romero and they're not bothering to run back. There's the difference, right? And I'm not saying they're amazing, but that is a manager that's come into a relegation battle and made them hard to beat, made them well-drilled. They never looked like conceding for 90 minutes, did they? Right? You look at Spurs, every attack that goes against us, we look like conceding because, again, there's no partnerships on the pitch, that we're wide open. The 2 goals in the second half, I mean, they're just so easy for the opposition to score. Tudor has come in, not made us hard to beat, not created any patterns of football, not got any system going at all. Finally gets a win against Atletico and then completely rips up that plan and goes with something else against Forest. Rest in peace to his father. I know this sounds really hard. It's difficult talking about it because of what happened to his dad. But as a manager of Tottenham, and I've not been this vocal about Tudor until now, he's got to go if we're going to have any chance of staying up. This guy has, since he's joined, we have lost more, drawn less, won less, conceded more, and scored less. Everything is worse under this manager. Everything. And I get it that he's not had a lot of time, but Vitor Pereira's not had a lot of time at Nottingham Forest, and they've had something like 4 clean sheets in their last 6 games. You know, like you go back to basics. You be hard to beat. And this guy is playing right backs at left back at left wing, left backs at right wing. Two big strikers against 2 big centre halves when you know they're going to win that aerial battle. Playmakers not on the pitch. Paulinho, who's won the most tackles in the Premier League this year, sitting on the bench during the biggest game of the season at home. I think he's absolutely atrocious at everything, this manager. Sorry, I've said it now. He's got to leave. He is awful. Sorry.
I think he'll be gone. I mean, I've seen a couple of people on Twitter groups I'm on just saying they've heard that he's going or he's gone. We'll wait and see. But
can I just say one thing? Sorry, this is what I like. Sorry, I'm gonna call him out, right? Eugene in the chat, right? Saying Sava, their players haven't given up. Simple as that. Sure, but it's not as simple as that, is it? Their players yesterday. Their right back was a right back. Their left back was a left back. Their 2 centre-halves partner each week. Their right winger's a right winger. Their left winger's a left winger. Their centre-mids are centre-mids. They play everyone square peg, square holes, and he's built a team over the last 6 or 7 games that is hard to beat. They don't score many. They won't win many, but they're hard to beat. He's saying you blamed Ange. Blamed Ange for what? I just didn't like Ange as a manager. Gave Frank a pass. Didn't give Frank a pass at all. And now blaming Tudor. Blaming him for what? I just want to... Sorry if this is out of place, guys. Sorry if I'm talking a lot. This guy's job, why he's been brought in, Eugene, I don't know if you get this, he's being brought in to keep us up, right? I'm not blaming Tudor for the mess Spurs are in. I am just saying that the job he is doing statistically is disgusting.
That's true, Sad. That's true, Sad. But you can't say you didn't give Thomas Frank a pass, because during the Thomas Frank debacle, you were saying it doesn't matter who the manager is; these players are shit.
Sure, but we were picking up more points, scoring more goals, and conceding less.
I know, but that's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that the point that Eugene was making is that you get, or whoever it was, is that you did give Thomas Frank a pass, and now you're turning on to the manager. And I think there is some inconsistency in the logic there.
No, but Sean, again, I'll explain to you what I just explained to him. Thomas Frank was the full-time manager, him to build over a number of years. Tudor's been brought in with one job. His job isn't to implement a system. His job is to keep us up and get points by hook or crook. Every single game, it's a different formation. This guy does not know what he is doing from one game to the next. Right? Again, we're doing this thing again where we're making it about manager versus manager versus manager. It's so fucking boring. Tudor's been brought in. I haven't said anything about him for 7 games, right? But now I think we've got a sample size over 7 games that this guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's on 0.20 points per game ratio at the club, right? He has conceded 20 goals in 7 games. 20 goals in 7 games.
Sure.
He's
done a terrible job.
He's done a terrible job.
But and that's fine. But that's a separate point to the argument that before Thomas Frank had a lot of a lot of rope lent to him, because the argument was it's not him. These players are just terrible. Like is the same argument? It just is the same.
As I said, the
It's
players
the same
are
argument,
terrible.
not applicable. I'm not defending Igor Tudor, by the way.
But Sean,
not defending him at all, because he's done a terrible job.
Eugene's just trying to pick something to beat me with, right? I never said the players aren't terrible, but give them a fighting chance. Put them in a formation that allows us to be solid. Like he's playing 4-4-2. He's playing 4-4-2 in a relegation battle. He's putting 2 centre mids against Forest's 3. And not even the senior pros. It's ridiculous.
Let me back you up on this a minute. I was a bit different to Sava. I wasn't on board the Frank train. Okay, Frank was in here for a project. The club weren't prepared to go for the pain of that project. Once it got painful, they didn't want to deal with it. Okay. Personally, that didn't bother me because I don't think he was the guy going forward. But nonetheless, they sabotaged the project that they decided to start. Tudor came in with one objective, keep us up. And he had to get at least something in those first 3-4 games, which he didn't really. But he caught a bit of life off the back of the Liverpool game. Fans got carried away and then reality kicked in again. For me, I think Tudor, and I wanted Frank out. I think Tudor's worse than Frank. I think Tudor is worse than Frank.
Yeah,
I kind of wish Johnny was. I wish Johnny was here tonight so we could have this conversation. But because he thought I was a madman when I said we've got to get rid of him after the Arsenal game, because I saw so many fundamental foundation level flaws in what he did. I thought, what hope have we got if this is his approach?
Yeah, but realistically, you're never going to give one manager a game, one game, are you? You're never going to do that.
Yeah, no. I realistically understand why the club didn't sack him after Arsenal. That I get, but I saw it then, and for me, I just have no idea what his approach is and why he is just against playing our best players in their key positions consistently.
Do you not see some consistency things with the way we are setting up? Like against Forest, to me, like the clear path that they thought, and it was a mistake, as I think Sava said, I've said it. I don't know if you guys have already said it as well before, apologies. But like going for long crosses, going for deep corners, and trying to outmuscle a bigger team that's like 2 inches taller or averagely across the park. Yeah. You know, if you're fighting fire with fire, but the other guy's got a bigger gas canister, right? And it's just like, to me, it didn't make sense. However, we have done that all season. Like under Thomas Frank, we were also trying to nick goals by set pieces at every opportunity.
That's why he got sacked.
No, I'm not just saying.
That's
like,
the point. That's the point. Thomas Frank got sacked, and now they're reverting back to Thomas Frank. This isn't about Thomas Frank. Tudor's been brought in to make us hard to beat and to get us out of relegation. And the problem is he's not attempted to make us hard to beat in one way, shape or form. Vitor Pereira's gone into Forest and they've got like 4 clean sheets in 6.
But is it an acknowledgement? My point is it an acknowledgement by both managers that the only way for this team right now, with the injuries we have and the time that he's had, and
we had 20 players available, Sean, yesterday.
Yeah, okay, but not all of them are fit. Like Destiny Udogie is like entirely unfit. He's completely out. I don't know why he came.
So why bring him on? So why bring him on?
I agree.
Why bring him on instead of Palhinha?
100%. Listen, I 100% agree. He got the team selection wrong. He got his substitutions wrong. Once again, he subs Richarlison off at a corner kick. Like he did that against Madrid as well. Like mental, like madness. Xavi Simons should have played. I should have started the game, or he should have come on at halftime. They made changes at halftime. They made weird changes. I don't know why Bergvall came on. Like, what was he expected to do differently? It was all very strange. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is the fact that we are just doing set piece FC and the same thing over and over again with regardless of the manager. And there's an absolute logic to say Thomas Frank got sacked for failing with that regime. So Igor Tudor doing the same thing is ridiculous. 100%, no argument. But is there some acknowledgement that they have both seen what they've got in terms of technical ability to work with, and then thinking the best way that we can manage to get a point from this game, or the best way we can seem to get a goal here, is from doing this corner kick routine, just trying to grab a corner. It's been the same all fucking season.
Can answer that.
Lubo, can I say one thing? Lubo, one thing, and then come to you. I'm literally going to be 10 seconds. That's fine attacking-wise, but defensively, we hemorrhage goals for fun.
Yeah.
4 against Liverpool, 3 against Palace, 3 against Nottingham Forest, 5 against Atletico. And by the way, Palace and Forest scored 6 goals against us between them. They've struggled to score goals the last 2 months.
Yeah. I think,
it's bad.
Again, I think the whole thing, you look at, if you're going to play 4-4-2, you don't end up with Bergvall and Gallagher as your wide players. The last time Spurs played 4-4-2 and played it well, we had Lennon on the right and Bale on the left, and you had a Palhinha type player in Scott Parker, and then you had your creative footballer in Luka Modric. And yes, obviously the quality compared to that midfield is nowhere near. It's levels and levels and levels.
Do you think it was a standard 4-4-2 though? In that first half, I was sitting there going to the guys around me. I was like, I can't even figure out what formation this is. Because like Pedro Porro wasn't playing as a right winger. He was basically playing as a central midfielder. He was so narrow. He was playing in front of Spence. I mean, in front of Spence, but he was basically almost in the centre circle for most of the game. I haven't seen his heat map, but I'd be surprised if it looked like he was playing as a right winger on the heat map. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does. But to me, from my eye, it looked like he was playing almost as like an inside midfielder.
He might have pulled inside, Sean, because a lot of the ball in that first half was going through Tell.
Yeah,
a lot of it was. Most of it was. So maybe if Tell's going out, then they're all going to slot across. But when they lined up, you could see quite clearly 4 at the back, 4 in midfield, and the 2 up front. And if you're going to play the 2 big boys up front, then they've got to do a job for you against 2 big centre backs.
Yeah,
and they didn't. That was as a collective 2. I think that was probably the 2 of them together. That was the worst performance I've seen from the 2.
And I don't think Matisse Tell hasn't got 90 minutes in his legs. I think he runs so hard in the first half because everything's going down his side.
He got taken
by about the 55th minute. He's like. His leg's gone. He never seems to have as good a second half as he does in the. I'm always impressed with his first half performances. I know a lot of you guys in the chat as well don't support my view on it, but I'm increasingly impressed by his effort and his first touch and all these things in the first half. But by about the 55th minute, he looks like he's out on his arse, and that's why I think you can't wait to see Mohamed Kudus come back, because having the ability to, I think the players do trust Matisse Tell. They're happy to feed him, right? But if you have Kudus as well, then you have 2 options. You can go down the right and go down the left with equal sort of variation, and that might be able to offer some sort of hope for the final 7 games. But that's about it.
I agree about Mohamed Kudus, by the way. I disagree about Mohamed Kudus. Go watch what he was like in a relegation battle when West Ham got sucked in. He went missing. He went completely missing in the
Oh,
relegation
fair
battle.
enough. It's just a different. I mean, the point I'm making
Yeah,
is
but
just around
we're not West Ham, right?
having double outlets is what I'm saying. I think that having double outlets, it reduces the ability for them to double man mark. And Archie Gray, for what it's worth, his switch hitting now is another little element of his game that's looking better. He can ping balls into channels and they get to where they're supposed to go with a higher frequency than anybody else in our team can do it. So I don't know if you're looking for any positive, and there really isn't that many. And I think we're nailed on to go down probably. But if Kudus does get back, and if Kudus is fit fairly quickly, then at least having two. And I don't. Is Matisse Tell injured? I don't know. Is Matisse? I heard Matisse Tell's injured.
We don't know. Sean, whose heat map did you ask about, by the way?
Pedro Porro's. Can you look in the first half heat map?
But for me, boys, what I would say is, I think every player from the pitch that played on the weekend is so bad on the ball. I think they're dreadful on the ball. Archie Gray, you're saying there about he was the shining light. I think he gave the ball away like 16 times in the first. Was it the first half?
It was something shocking in the first half. Yeah, he gave.
It was something about 16 times in the first half. Saar was more than that. And for me, I mean, Tell looks like a good player, but he creates nothing. One chance a game maximum if you're lucky. Richarlison is dreadful. I've said it the whole time. I mean, Sean, you know what I think of Dominic Solanke again? Another terrible signing, another terrible striker. We create nothing. And not that I'm sticking up for the front two. If you're the front two and you have Tell out wide, Gray, Saar behind you, you know you're never going to get the ball to feet or where it should or shouldn't be. So you're naturally going to switch off or put half-hearted performances in. Whether that's right or wrong, in my opinion, is completely wrong. But when you've got the ability that we've got on the pitch to find a striker, like it's never going to work. That for me is why Frank turned to set pieces. That's why now we're even worse. I think that the midfield two that we had this weekend. Look, Archie Gray, I think there's a player in there, but I don't think he's anywhere near Premier League level. Puppy Saar is probably the worst footballer I've ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur. He cannot control the ball. He can't pass the ball. I mean, he works hard, but it's all right working hard, but he's never like man-to-man working hard. It's always letting his man run. Oh, I'll chase him. It's not like, oh, right, I see that run, I'll intercept that. It's always chasing shadows. So for me, we haven't got anybody in midfield or going forward that can actually keep a ball, actually play a full ball.
When I was looking at Matisse Tell, again, look, I know I accuse others of having a predetermined disposition about him. Maybe I've gone the other way and have got like a positivity bias towards him now. Like maybe that's just my own, thing. But for me, I think that a lot of the things that he does, he gets into good. Once he's figuring out how to sort of get past players, and he makes the right decision. But I think he's a little bit limited by the predictability of the running, like the movement of Richarlison and Dominic Solanke is all over the place. Like there was 3 times in that first half when Dom Solanke started a run and then just checks back and Matisse Tell whips it into exactly the area where it would have been, just towards the back post when Dom Solanke had carried his run on. And then for no reason at all, Dom Solanke just stops and pulls back. Like he wasn't under threat. Yeah, he wasn't under pressure.
I would agree.
Just stop and pull back. And it happened to Richarlison twice as well. And I'm like, if you're going to make it's wavelength and chemistry, I guess, and familiarity with each other. But I think a lot of the misplaced crosses that I saw in the first half specifically yesterday were more because of the volatility in consistent runs that the other two were making. Yeah. I thought they were all over the fucking place.
So my opinion on that is I agree with what you're saying about the
five. He got on the end of Tell's header last game.
So I would agree within reason. I would say, for me, Tell. I think it's a combination of both, right? I think you've got 2 strikers up there that are not good enough, so they have to be impact players. Richarlison's goal with Kudus' cross, where he scores out bicycle, it's always like instinct. Dominic Solanke's back heel over his head into the top corner. It's like instinct. It's not like, well, I'm going to take a touch here. Beat my man and put it in a corner. So I think that they struggle with that. Look, I think Tell is probably our best attacker at the moment, but that doesn't say a lot in my opinion. And the downside to Tell in this is I think he holds the ball too long. So they naturally make that instinct run because that's all they're good at. He holds it, then looks for it. It's too late. So whether that's chemistry,
Yeah,
whether that's
I
not good enough,
I think
whether
that
that's
definitely
James?
selfishness is creeping into Tell's game as well, just like it did with Kudus' game. 100%, I can get on board that.
Yeah. James,
but I don't mind him being selfish or greedy as long as the end product's good, right? Or you get a goal here or there, or you get an assist here or there. But it's like he's not doing either and losing the ball all the time. That is my concern. If you're going to do that, Kudus gets goals, assists, loses the ball.
James,
Tell
there's a
is
couple
not-
of things. Firstly, most of the corners came in the first half. We had 8 corners, I think. Most of them came from Tell going down the left and attacking the fullback, who I thought didn't have his best game against Tell first half. The other thing also is that Tell's putting in crosses, and we've been spoiled. We've had a most fantastic centre forward who knows where to run, how to time his runs, and how to get on the end of crosses, and seems to get it right every single time in Harry Kane. And he would put in balls that Kane would have just put away for fun. And Solanke and Richarlison just don't have that instinct. They're just not there. They don't have the intelligence, the football intelligence, and it is frustrating because Tell's in the last few games is improving, and you can see he's improving.
The Tottenham fans love him. Every time he was going over a corner, the entire West Stand and South Stand were doing
I think that shows. I think it's subjective, right? When we're saying improving, I think the problem that we've got here is, again, we're so bad right now that if anyone just does anything half decent, like now we don't even. We're saying that forwards and wingers are having great games where they don't score or assist, or they're coming off after 45, whatever it is. That's where we're at. I watch Tell, and I think Tell's got a brilliant attitude. He works hard. He looks like he's going to do stuff and never actually does. That the thing for me is, I think he lacks the one thing you need to be a top player, and that's quality. He works hard. There's no doubting about it, but I just don't see quality from him. I've never seen it. When I watched him at Bayern, when I watched him last year, when I watch him this year, I think he delivers a nice ball every now and then, but I think this is how far we've fallen as a football club, that we're sitting here talking about greys and tells. That's why we are in relegation battles. Not blaming them, by the way. Sorry, hang on. I've got to make it really clear. I'm not blaming Tell and Grave being in a relegation battle. I'm saying the quality at Spurs is non-existent now. That we praise anyone that, like Sarr gets praised every now and then. You know why? Because he runs about. Didn't Sarr work hard? Sure, he's a central midfielder in the
individual games, though. There's a massive difference between sitting there and saying Sarr played well in the game against Madrid, right? And I think he won 85% of his duels against in the Liverpool game, and most of them were up against Alexis McAllister, who most people until very recently you thought is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, right? He's obviously dropped off a cliff in the last 6 months, but so you can sit there and I'm someone who deals with them just if you're analysing the game specifically, which is why I was sort of talking about the kind of pessimism across some of the podcasts that I was hearing and stuff. Like, it's one thing to be bigger picture and be sitting there saying there's nothing really to be positive about, but in the isolated moment, in the analysis of the Liverpool game and the Madrid game, there were reasons to be positive. If you're a fan that's been starved of reasons to be optimistic or reasons to be positive for so many months, then you can sit there.
I didn't think Sarr was good against Liverpool.
I thought we were crap against Liverpool.
But his stats were good. His stats were good. But I don't disagree with you on
how you judge a footballer, Sean, doesn't it?
No, it's fine. But on the stats, in isolation, Stab, in the isolated stats on that game.
I thought, but again, this is the thing. Against Liverpool, we were absolutely outplayed in midfield, right? And we look at things like, but the duels, but Liverpool's midfield just passed it around us for most of the game, right? When I judge players by how do they play with the ball, in the most part, what do you do with the football? You know, where that round thing goes to your feet, what can you do as a player?
Hang on. A minute ago, you were saying, like, we how can we praise players that play in the forward line who don't score and don't assist? So stats are important when you want to analyze a player when it suits the narrative, but then when it doesn't suit the narrative, stats are irrelevant.
No. See, no. I first of all, that's the sentence you made up, not me. I didn't
You
say
literally
that,
said it a minute ago. You said what we're judging for. We're calling forwards good players, and they don't score an assist.
Okay, so then listen to the important bit I said before, Sean. Right, I'm judging the midfielders on what do they do with the football. Right, watch them with the ball. What do you do with the ball? When I watched Anderson yesterday for Forest, I don't need any stats to tell me what a good footballer he is and what a good game he had. I don't need that. I just watched his array of passing, watched him getting stuck in, watched him with sensible fouls when he needs to, watched him out muscle Gray in the first half. And I'm going, you can play.
So again, you apply stats when it suits and when it doesn't. So you don't need stats to come to your own conclusion that someone had a great performance. But when you want to make a point about someone that isn't that good because you don't believe they are that good, you will point to statistics to back your point up.
No, Sean, you're doing it. You're doing that thing again. I don't need the stats. Yes, you are. You're saying I need the stats to tell me. I don't.
No, I'm saying you use stats when it suits, and you don't. And you dismiss them when it doesn't.
No. Hang on.
A midfielder's game is not just about what they do with the ball; it's how you win the ball back. And in the game against Liverpool, in isolation, I don't disagree with you about Pape Sarr was good against Liverpool. In the area of the game where he was winning the ball back, yes, he was. He won 85% of his ground duels. Right, that is a stat that is necessary when determining a midfielder's contribution to the game. It's not all about what you do with it; it's how you get it back. I don't disagree with you about Sarr generally. I think he's the most terrible passer of the ball.
We watched different games because I thought Sarr was absolutely awful at Liverpool. Sure. I thought this is the thing: we keep having these games where we're overrunning midfield, and then when I go onto YouTube show, people go, "God, he was brilliant in midfield, Stan." I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing? If you are getting stuck in
not everyone has to see the game the way you do, Saba. Other people can have other opinions.
Sure, Sean, stop making these silly little statements. It's getting silly now.
I never said that. Mate.
I never said
little statement. I'm asking you to be consistent.
Do you? So I've not been consistent. You're saying I'm judging a player on different things. I'm not. I watched the game against Liverpool. Sean, I can't help it, mate. Right? I want to see good footballers. I'm not seeing good footballers, and I'm seeing people get praised for doing the bare minimum at Spurs. This is why we are where we are, because we have got so many bang average, bog standard footballers that do the bare minimum over 90 minutes, and we go, he had a really good game today because 85% dual. Sure, but then when you've got the ball, what does he do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yesterday,
I don't think either of you are wrong there. I think what Sean is saying is he won his duels, got the ball back, and then you're saying he's rubbish on the ball. I think you both can be right at the same time.
James, in the game at Liverpool, I did not notice Pape Sarr.
Yeah, but that's because he's dreadful on the ball, right?
In behind him and Gray in that first half, actually in the 90 minutes, it was 3 passes from their midfield to our goal at any one time. They just opened us up. And then we're going, did well in midfield, but they were bypassed. Like they didn't get anywhere near it. So
I said did well in his defensive stats is what I said. I also said he's a terrible passer of the ball. He gave the ball away 10 times, 15 times, whatever it was. Again, so isolated, you can analyze. And again, we're talking about individual match analysis, not bigger picture. We can all agree or disagree or whatever on your overall opinion of the player. Right, you can sit. I think that Richarlison, for example, I generally think he's a terrible footballer. I think he's absolutely bang average. But in a couple of games recently, he has stood up, and so in isolation, I will give the man credit where it's due and say he was impactful in that game. Isolated analysis of a game is different to your overall opinion, and also within the department of a performance over 90 minutes, there's more than one thing to judge a player on, especially a midfielder who's responsible for retaining the ball and also distributing it. I agree with you. His passing is absolutely atrocious. But in the game against Liverpool, he did win 85% of his duels against one of the best midfield players in the Premier League over the last 5 or 6 years. Maybe this season he's gone down a bit.
We watched different games. I think we watched different games because I thought against Liverpool, Pape Sarr was horrific, as he was yesterday. Horrific. I think he's one of the worst midfielders I've seen in a Spurs shirt. He just runs around. He runs around and runs around. So I can't rate players like that. I just
for me, I think there's a time and a place, right?
Guys, James, you have your say. Then let me move on to the super chats because it's an hour and a half and they've been sitting here. So go on, you have your say, James.
Yeah, it's just for me. Right, I think there's a time and a place for Papa Sarr, right? So for me, game yesterday, he shouldn't be even on the bench because unless you're going to get a 1-0 and you're going to defend and bring him on last minute for their legs, for me, there's no place in Tottenham Hotspur for somebody like that. In a team where you're expected to keep the ball, in my opinion, I'll put most of the midfielders that we've got. I don't think any of them are good enough to just kind of calm things down, keep the ball. Maybe Gallagher, Maddison, obviously he's not available. But other than that, I feel like there's Bergvall. It gives the ball away a lot again for me. I think he's the best out of the bunch that are there. But for me, he gives the ball away too much. I think that's Tottenham's problem.
I agree with you as well. He's a head down runner. When he first came to Tottenham, sorry, James, quickly. When he first came to Tottenham, his ability to pick a peripheral pass, like peripheral vision, was really impressive. And then for whatever reason, under Thomas Frank, he suddenly became head down, like just running down blind alley. Sorry, James, didn't mean to interrupt me.
Yeah, no. But for me, I think Bergvall is very good at that 50p turn and play a ball out wide, or a 50p on there with two men jinking and out. It's then what happens after that for me. I don't think Gray's very good at keeping the ball. I don't think Sarr's very good at keeping the ball. I don't think Bergvall's very good at keeping the ball. I think you could argue Polina. Polina for me is the best defensive midfielder, or one of the best in the league. He can't keep the ball. So to have 4 or 5 of those players that can't keep hold of the ball, when you have the shakiest defence in the league, Porro can't defend, Udogie, who's always injured, or he play right back and left back, Romero that runs into midfield and leaves gaps. You cannot afford to lose that ball in midfield because of the back line. So for me, I don't think it matters who we talk about in the midfield. I think they're all as good as each other in this circumstance. I don't think any of them are good enough.
We're going to see what they have got left in terms of showing us something good with the remaining 7 games. Otherwise, we are going down.
Got to buy them. Got to buy them players. That's why Forest bought Anderson. We don't have an Anderson. We don't have that player.
Let's do the super chats. Then we'll, if you want to come back to it, we can do it. Thank you to Miguel Lopez, channel member, just joined the Spurs Five. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. A user, channel regular. Fans on the high road inspired the wrong team. We did say that. Della Spurs, thank you as always. We threw a loser parade for losing so much, and we lost the game. We didn't do this last season before a European final, but we did it for Nottingham Forest. Dean Law, super sticker. Thank you very much. I don't have the choo-choo button, but I'm sure Sean will give you a choo-choo.
I got it.
Next
I got
time,
it. I got it. I got it. I'll do it right
now.
now.
We've got it. We've got it.
You've got it as well.
Do I? Oh, I didn't.
Choo-choo to you, Dino. Choo-choo to you.
Ant London says Nick Butcher is accountable for this recent shit. I think there's a lot of people that are accountable. And Destiny 55555 says, funny how all Champions League clubs are lining up for our starting 11. Are they? And more if we go down. Who? Not good enough.
Who? I love this sweeping statement.
This.
Who?
Romero's wanted by, this is what is it Danny Kelly or Danny Baker? I forget the guy's name. Who's the guy who's got cancer. Good luck to his pursuit of health.
Danny Kelly.
Danny Kelly, is it? He said if you look at the back 4, for example, the back 5, including Vicario, right? Vicario's wanted and basically going to go to Inter Milan, who's a Champions League team. Mickey van der Ben's got his pick of basically everybody, Champions League teams, Barcelona, whatever else. Romero's wanted by both or one of the Real Madrid clubs. Pedro Porro is apparently wanted by Manchester City, and he's also wanted by basically the vast majority of high-line, high-possession teams. And Destiny Udogie would apparently be wanted back by Juve and a lot of the Italian teams as well. So that the argument he was making was just the entire back 5.
You know what? Apparently, isn't it? It's a lot of apparentlys with no bids. I haven't seen one bid for any of these footballers. I haven't seen one bid.
You're not going to get bids now, are you?
No. Hang on. But I've heard this for years. Where was the bid for Romero last year? Where was the bid for Udogie? Where was the bid for Porro? Where's the bid?
Barcelona and Atletico Madrid asked Spurs what they wanted for Romero, and they wouldn't pay the money that Spurs wanted.
So they can't want him that much, can they? Let's go. Let's
No, but
face
is
it.
it-
They can't want him that much.
fair though, but is it a fair assessment that, because this is a question I've been asking, and I don't know the answer, but what player that would want to leave Tottenham Hotspur if we go down will end up at a team that is smaller or worse than Tottenham Hotspur, but that still stays,
but
but that still
that's
stays in
pretty much.
But worse
Sorry.
than we are now, Sean, or where we normally are in and around the top 5th, 6th. What?
No,
what's the
let me simplify the argument, right? Like, I mean, I think Italian teams obviously is a different league, right? So you don't know, like Juventus or whatever. Where would Juventus finish if they in the Premier League? I don't know. Where would Inter Milan finish? I don't know. But like, even if the likes of like the Dom Solankis of this world, right, the Richarlisons of this world, the Matisse Tells, are they going to end up at a Wolves? Well, not a Wolves, bad example. Are they going to end up at a Fulham or a Forest, or are they going to end up at a Newcastle or a team that has ambitions to be?
But Sean, are you? Is that the remit of a good player then? Because we sold Clement Longley to Atletico Madrid. Does that mean what? He's a good player.
Emerson Royal went to AC Milan.
No,
Eric Dyer went to Bayern Munich.
100%, 100%, right? But that's
By the way, this wasn't Sean's point. By the way, this was this.
No,
point
I know.
here.
Yeah,
Sean, we had this chat the other day.
I've been asking the
It's sort-
question, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, foreign teams are different standards. Different, like big teams in different leagues are not necessarily cut out for the Premier League. It might just be horses for courses. But Eric
Sure.
Dyer did go to Bayern Munich and was one of their most important players, right? He kept Kim Min-jae out of the team. But every Tottenham fan wanted Eric Dyer gone for the previous 3 years of his career at Tottenham.
Yeah, but then
You know?
look what Eric Dyer did in
the thing is as well,
the
Sean,
Champions
I
League.
agree with you. But the thing
was-
is as well with this, when we're saying this doesn't
was
mean
good
that we put
domestically.
it doesn't mean that we've put it together properly for Tottenham.
100%.
So, do you know what I mean? Like when people are saying this, you can't just stick any old footballers together and go on, that works. These players, for example, you made a good point there, Sean, right? To show that we do get on, right? You made a good point there. Pedro Porro will go to a team where he's not asked to be an out-and-out fullback and that plays like when he played for
65%
Spain.
possession. He'll have 70% possession.
okay.
He won't get hurt. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Problem is, some of these players would be doing much better at Spurs if we actually had a philosophy and a system. Some of them wouldn't. Some of them would. But if that's the judgment, then you've got to say that about any team, right? You've got to say that about any team. If we're going to say,
look at Forest's team. If Forest were the team to go down,
exactly.
let's be honest, their team yesterday was far superior than ours. Right, their team yesterday. You take Hudson-Odoi over anything that Tottenham's got on the left. You'd probably take the other kid, I forget, on the right wing over maybe most of our right wingers. Amari Hutchinson, yeah, very good player, right? You'd certainly take Igor Jesus over most of our strikers. You'd certainly take Elliot Anderson. Sangare was a fucking baller at PSV. I wanted him to come to Tottenham 4 years ago. He's an absolute baller of a six. He's a really, really talented six. It's taken him a little bit of time to get used to the pace of the Premier League, but he's really starting to show up now. And of course, like Murillo and Milenkovic, the right pairing for that style of football, certainly under Nuno Espirito Santo. To Sava's point, you can buy good players, but if it's all a hodgepodge of players that are good fits for different systems and managerial tweaks and managerial changes, that's the problem with Tottenham Hotspur. We don't buy for we just buy on opportunity, and then we kind of stick it together.
Yeah, there's no, but this goes back to the conversation we've had for years, right? Like if Tottenham implement a system at the top of the club, and we all know that how we play, we all know that the players we buy are for that system, not for a manager. And you go, fine. Problem is, these players have been bought for 6 different managers over 6 different years. So when people are going, he'd be good there, but he might do. But they weren't all bought for Ange. They weren't all bought for Frank. They weren't all bought for Conte. They weren't all bought for Tudor. It's different managers all the time, different players.
But even if you change your manager, that's not necessarily the end of the world as long as you stick to a similar style of manager.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's the difference between when people are trying to go, oh, you think all the players are shit. Don't think all the players are shit. I'm looking at the squad going, what have they been bought for? Like, as I said, I like Conor Gallagher as a player, but what did we buy him for? Did we buy him because we know we are going to get Poch and Poch loves him and he'll sit in a Poch system? Or have we just bought him because he's another body available? That's where I'm at with the players. So
I think a lot of that is down to the fans as well, in fairness. And I'm including myself in that as well, because my opinion was I just didn't see how Frank was going to keep his job with the form he was in. I couldn't see how Ange was going to keep his job after the season he had. I don't see how Tudor keeps his job after the form we're in. So it's also part of the fans, and I'm including myself in that, because this whole painful, real rebuild, build, whatever you want to call it, these managers need 3 or 4 years. And the moment we get a season like we are, we're like, it has to go, has to change. I mean, now we're in a relegation battle, so we have to, because why not? But I feel us as fans, the moment we go through a bit of a sticky situation, we are right, he has to go. Hence why I think the only guy that will ever get given chance is Pochettino, whether you want him or not.
And the only way Pochettino will work is if they start adapting to this.
Oh, God.
Simple as that. Simple as
Glad
that.
I did miss
If they
that.
don't back
Lilywhite, see you later. Honestly. That's it. All right, let's
if they don't back him, it doesn't matter what manager you have. It's a waste
Do you think
of time.
do you think it'll still come in the summer if we're down in the Championship?
I think he will, but
wait, hold on. We're going to come on to that at the end. Let's get the other super chats done, because, by the way, Destiny, great super chat. You created a 15-minute discussion. Great job.
This is why you got to get your super chats in, guys.
Yeah, get your super chats in, because they won't get rid again. And London, thank you very much. The scumbags who got us here: Colcott, Mackenzie, Lange, Vinay, Viv, and Charles Lewis, Charrington Butcher, Daniel and Josh Levy, also Alan Dixon. I don't disagree with any of that. Would you guys add anyone to the list, or is Sean about to remove Levy from the
I
list?
don't think the last two have got anything to do with it, to be fair, but the rest of them, yes.
Did you see Vinay getting called out by people in the chairman's box?
Yes.
Yeah, the West End, yeah.
He's gone. I think him and Lang are nailed on that they are gone in the summer.
If the chairman's box,
so.
if the chairman's box is turning on the CEO, I mean, gee whiz, what are we at? Where are we at?
But you know what, Sean? If just give approximate figures, just make it nice, rounded off. If you've got an asset worth 3 billion and you put 2 people in charge, and at the end of that season it's worth 1.5 billion, you're not going to look too kindly on those people that have been running the football side for you, are you?
So you saying if we get relegated and hemorrhage money, there'll be fundamental change at Tottenham?
I think Vinay and Lang will go, but the problem is still who they bring in, because they have no clue. And that's the problem.
It's the same thing with the draw, right? We make this argument about raising the salary cap is the reason why we struggled so much. And I've always made this argument. Maybe there was a period in time, maybe I had a massive debate with Connor about this after the game. Maybe there was a small window in 2020 when if you did have 100 million quid and you were willing to pay people 300 grand a week, then maybe you could have gone and got someone. But right now, you don't have the draw, right? There's no draw. No 100 million pound player is going to come to Tottenham Hotspur. No. And could you extend to the same thing with regards to DOF? Could you make the same thing with regards to CEO? If Tottenham find themselves in the Championship next season, are there going to be the caliber of personnel, of staff, of CEOs that are going to want to come in? Maybe there is. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I think it's a fair question to ask that you're limited. Is the guy for Louis Campos, is he going to come to Tottenham knowing that we've got to build a squad for Lincoln City away? I don't think
Sean, so. One minute. First of all, I don't expect us to sign £100 million players. I expect us to have better scouting and better networks in place to find players within our budget, not the money we waste. And secondly,
forget. I'm talking using more about the other thing. But go on.
Right, and secondly, the money we've spent on the people on the board, what job are they doing that's so goddamn good that they've justified their salary? They've been a disaster. Paying them mega money doesn't necessarily help us as a club, does it?
I'd love to know how much Rob McKenzie gets paid. I've got no idea what a chief scout gets paid. Are they getting paid £1 million a year? Are they getting paid £500,000? Are they getting paid 100 grand? Is it like do they rock up to the training ground in a Ford Fiesta, or do they rock up in a Ferrari? I've got no idea, but whatever they're getting paid too much.
I don't know.
I've got a great idea for these owners. Very simple. Sell the club.
Listen, now you're talking. Bourbon Buzzard, thank you very much for your super chat. Guys, I've got it. Let's play Gray as striker. He ain't played there yet. The element of surprise. I think he's bantering.
Well, I've got to tell you still, I wonder what Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and Dortmund, who are all looking at him, would think of that.
Again,
What, Gray striker?
Where are you getting this from?
No,
are you
I know where he's got it
getting
from. Savo, I know what's happened here. Tom
Oh,
Barkley,
God, yeah. Oh, God.
he said Declan Rice is great, but Archie Gray could be better. So this Spurs legend told me, right?
Fucking hell.
Because we know, listen,
Jesus.
I'm only saying you, because Lubo, you love Twitter.
No,
You
who
always
was
share
the
it in the
Spurs-
WhatsApp
who was
group.
the Spurs legend, though,
It's-
still?
it's
Aaron Anderson.
Was it Anderson? No, it's his football, Darren.
Declan Rice compared to Archie Gray. We've lost.
Look how we go from he's had a couple of good games to you know that player Declan Rice who's being talked about as one of the best midfielders
Oh,
in the
my
world
Lord.
right now. Gray
Oh,
could be
God.
better than fucking hell.
Mate,
I think the basis of the argument is what was Declan Rice doing when he was the same age as Archie Gray, and it wasn't to the same thing. Not that I agree with the argument, but that's the basis.
Wasn't he
of
playing
it,
in the first team for West Ham?
18 years old.
Pretty
Is
sure he was, right?
Is Archie Gray 18 or 19 now, Lubo? You must.
Do you know what? I'm not.
He's 20.
He's old now, Sean. He's old.
man.
We've got to
I'm
stop
not
calling him kids.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking when I say this. I was at White Hart Lane. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 years ago, and I was with a Man City scout and an Arsenal coach, right? And we were sitting in. I gave him some tickets.
Just the start of a joke.
Well, it might be. Depends if where you position yourself as a Spurs fan. No, it's not a joke. It's a true story, but you might think it's a joke. And we beat West Ham in the cup 2-1. I can't remember if it was FA Cup or Carabao Cup, but we beat them. It was a midweek game. We beat them 2-1. And after that game, both the Man City scout and the Arsenal coach said to me, I fucking like that boy there. And they both pointed at Declan Rice at West Ham. So they clearly saw a highly talented player back then. I don't know if anyone else is saying that about Archie Gray right now, but Declan Rice, I think, was one of those players that was destined to actually become very
Still,
good.
I do know. Yeah, I do know nobody's saying that about Archie Gray right now, barring Lubo.
Listen, I'm just saying.
I'm just in.
I'm not saying.
I want you to be right so much, mate. I almost want. I want you to be right more than I want to be right about Matisse Tell. You know, because I see even my boy Johnny tried to jump on board the bandwagon. Right when I was like, give Lubo his flowers, Johnny was like, yeah, me and Lubo have been talking about
Listen,
Archie
I will
Gray.
say this.
I was like, oh, Johnny, don't even do that, mate. You have not been at the forefront of the Archie Gray bandwagon. That is Lubo's spot and Lubo's alone.
Listen,
Sean, I was talking about him too. No, you weren't, Johnny. Not to the same degree, bro.
No, you weren't, Johnny. I will say this, though. I know coaches in the Man United Academy, not the first team, the Man United Academy, they all say a lot of good things about Archie Gray at the moment. I know the youth coaches say a lot of good things about him. So, what does that mean? I don't know. George
Declan Rice, just quickly, still, Declan Rice made his debut for West Ham at 18, went into the team and stayed in the team, just so you know. He's top class, by the way. I know he plays for them. But I would love a Declan Rice in our team.
Him and Anderson, Rice and Anderson will be our midfield in America, won't it?
I'd bite your arm off to have that as your midfield for the next 10 years, Rice and Anderson. Quality players. Quality.
Won't be for 10 years, so.
Yeah. Mate, I'll be honest with you. I quite like that.
Right, for 3 years until Archie Gray turns into better than Declan Rice.
Be interesting to see if Adam Wharton,
mate, Adam Wharton
as well.
I like Adam Wharton.
Super,
I think he's brilliant.
Quality footballer.
Lovely player.
Jordan Coys, 94. Thank you for your very, very generous super chat. The Fulham and Palace games should have been enough for our board to admit they've made a mistake in hiring Tudor. Leeds and Burnley both got a point at Anfield this season, so keeping Tudor based on that is extremely naive. It's a fair comment to make. Very fair comment to make. Steve Jam, thank you. We take players with some promise and make them bang average due to no club strategy. They will leave Spurs enjoying success at stable clubs. What do you make of that? Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah.
I think this is bang on.
Yeah,
nailed it.
Got no strategy. What are you bringing players into? What are you?
And just but generally, like potential is only kind of ever realized. Like you have to be a very special, unique character to be able to thrive and let your potential really emerge in an environment that's toxic and difficult. You know, like Liverpool will always, Jurgen Klopp was always praised for like giving minutes to the young players coming through, the Connor Bradleys, the Curtis Jones, all of these guys. But he would pick and choose the moments to do it, right? They would be 3-0 up in games, losing with 20 minutes to go. Cool. Go on then, Curtis. Go on then, Connor. Get yourself in there. You know, we're not going to disrupt the flow of the team too much having you in there. The game's done. You're in a positive environment where you can sort of learn. Whereas, you know, Ange Postecoglou was criticised. Every Tottenham manager is criticised for never giving youth a chance until you're forced to because of injuries. But how often do you have the opportunity to give a Callum Alasasi or whoever else minutes, a Mikey Moore, whatever, when he was here? How often do you have those opportunities to do so when you're fighting with your fingernails for every point and you're losing games a lot of the time? You know, So the environment is also important to make these potentials.
Yeah. Well, I have a question on that, and I said it to Sava earlier. Say, for example, we stay up a couple of points, 17th, we stay up, right? Where did Tottenham go from there, even if we do stay up, right? Because what is the story you're going to sell? What are you selling to these players? The picture, because if Van der Ven leaves, Romero leaves, say Xavi wants to leave. Even though they haven't been great, they're probably the 3 biggest names at the club. If you're trying to sign an Anderson or whoever, I'm just picking names out, how are you selling them? Right, we're going to now push for Europe. We're going to push to win the league. We're going to push to get Champions League. I think that we're going to be in such a position that we're going to have to start targeting Wolves, West Ham's, Leeds players, and hope that they accept the package that we're offering, because where do we turn from that? I don't know. What are you selling? How is anyone going to buy into what you want to go, where you want to go for Tottenham Hotspur? I think if we stay up, from that point of view, it's going to be just as hard to rebuild as it is going down, because I don't know what you're going to sell. What is the selling point of Tottenham Hotspur?
You have to present the football club as being in better shape strategically than it has been, right? And so for me, the very first signing that has to take place in the summer is not a player. It's a DOF. Yeah. You have to bring in someone with gravitas. You have to bring in someone with reputation, someone that's been there and done it. And ideally, you bring in a manager as well as the second signing. Although I know you're not going to be able to get that done until after, if it is Poch, until after the World Cup's finished, concluded, which is a problem, right? But in an ideal world, you would get Pochettino to sign for Tottenham on May the 25th and know that he's joining after the World Cup finishes. And then if you bring in get rid of Johan Lang and bring in whoever, we've got this guy from RB Leipzig fame apparently coming in now, whatever, right? But you bring in someone like that, and then those two put together their plan over the coming days and weeks around what you need, and then you go and approach the certain players and say, look, this is what we're doing here, right? We're going to build this team around youth-centric model, and it's going to be a 3-year thing or a 5-year thing or whatever they're going to do.
Okay, can I answer back to that then? Can I answer back to that then? Let me answer back to that. I would go for you. We sat down and you presented me that. I'll go, right. What happened to Paratici? What happened to Land? What happened to Vinay? And now this time, what's changed? Same owners. What's changed?
I'm sure. Obviously, you also get them to, if you can get other players to commit. I think I don't know.
See what I'm saying, though, Joel? Can you see what I'm saying there?
Of course, once bitten, twice shy. So many players are going to go, why would I want to come to Tottenham? 100%.
Of course, and I don't disagree with what you're saying either. But if I was to join Tottenham Hotspur now, or I was presenting my son to Tottenham, I'd go, so why is he going to join you? You can go, well, new director of football. I go, oh, another one. Oh, a new manager. Oh, another one. Oh, yeah, but this time we want to go this. Oh, okay, again. What are you selling me that I'm going to go?
Isn't that
the only thing I said that I can see happening, and it would never happen, is if you go out and go, right, there's 150 million for Anderson, there's 150 million for Walton, there's 100 million, and you kind of fire out those bids all at the same time and say, we're going to build, overpay for absolutely everybody.
Yeah, that's the exact opposite of what we need to do, right? Surely the point is, if, let's just say, like the reports are saying today, let's say Sebastian Kell comes in as the director of football and De Zerbi comes in as the manager. Let's say they join on the same day after the Everton game, right? They're both put in. That is where Kell, De Zerbi, the recruitment team, and if Lang's still there, by the way, because it looks like he's going to be there, Lang and Vinay, if he's still there, all need to get in the room and go, what's the plan for the next 5 years? Right? What is our plan? What do we want to go and build? What do we want to do? What's the philosophy? What do we want to implement? Right. Okay. What are the first 5-6 positions we need to go and buy this summer to make that happen? Then that is what they've got to package and sell to. I'm just going to pick a player random here, please don't. That is what they then need to sell to an Adam Wharton, by way of example. Adam, just so you know, Kel's come in. This is his plan for the 5 years. De Zerbi's come in. This is how he wants to play. We see you as being the main man in his team. We're going to build it around you. We're also putting in bids for bum, 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 bum. If they do that, I think we're still Tottenham. We've still got a name that we can go to the market with. But it's got to be that delivered at the same time. And the problem was you had Frank's joined and there's the weird Lang Paratici thing where they don't get on and Paratici didn't want Frank. So it's all got to be aligned, right? Like Sean said, it's got to be that the director of football and the manager almost interview together, right? Like, hey, we're going to sign him. What do you think? Yeah, I like him. I can work with him. Boom. Yeah.
I just don't think it's as easy as that with the position that we're in. 17th last year, 17th this year. That story for me, that name. If I was a player, I'd be looking at you and go, right, you're going to be in a relegation scrap again this year. Unless you could buy 10 players on top of the ones that are all about leaving. Like I said, even though I don't think they're great, if Doggy, Romero, Vicario, Van der Ven, all leaving, they're going to see those going as well. And it ain't going to be a matter of, oh, yeah, I'll build it around me. They're going to have to buy Palhinha's going, Polo's going. Not that I think they're good, but you've got to replace them before you actually start looking at improving the squad, right? So for me...
Okay, so how did Bournemouth do it when they came up? How did Brentford do it when they came up? Right? How did Brighton do it when they came up, right?
So that's the only way I think we can do it. We either go big and splash massive money, or you have to go to Africa, South America, and you have to try and find the next best things. But again...
Or what about in the middle? Why is it
I don't
always...
think we'll be able to. I don't think...
Megastars? Like, what about...
Because I don't know why they would come to us over a go to an Everton. Come to us over a Brentford now.
No, they
Come
would.
to us over a Palace. I don't know why they would.
I can answer
we're
this.
Targeting, hang on, sorry, still one last thing. Sorry, if we're targeting the right players, James, right? If we're going to again use Wharton as an example, a player who likes to play in a team that get the ball down, he wants to move the ball through midfield. If Everton are approaching him and Tottenham with a new setup, by the way, not this Tottenham, with Kel and De Zerbi in place, or Kel and Poch, Adam Wharton will look at Everton and who their manager is and how they play. Then they'll look at the track records of a Pochettino, the track records of a De Zerbi, and go, that's how they like to play. Do you know what I mean? I think as much as we can't attract the £100 million players, we can still go out and get very good footballers. We are Tottenham Hotspur.
That's right.
We're not Wolves. You know, we shouldn't need to go to the far-flung parts of the Amazon to find the talent, you know?
Correct. And I don't losing these players is going to be a massive thing, honestly, because we finished 17th last year and we're going to finish around that this year. And if we do stay up, you know, for me, it is about selling a brand new, a new project, new starts with the right people.
No, Luke, honestly, guys, I'm listening to this. For me, it starts, and it has to start with what is it you want to achieve? I've always said this. What is the goal? And let's say, for example, to win the Premier League. That's got to be the opening entry. That is the objective. And then you build it from that. And I'm not saying bring him back or he was the reason, but the one thing Ange did do is he said, I'm here to win a trophy. I always do my forget
that's
whether
not
it was
a philosophy. Still, that's not a philosophy.
And that's what you keep saying. No. Hold on, Sava, hear me out. The philosophy is built based on what the goal is. So once you know what the goal is, then you say, right. Sava, let me say my bit.
Sorry, yeah, I just don't get how that works. I don't.
You can disagree with it once I've explained it. You set out your goal. So when I went to uni, my goal is to get a degree at the end of it. How am I going to do it? So if I come to Spurs, what is my goal? I want to win the Premier League. How are you going to do it? I'm going to look how the others do it. I've now looked at the others. I think we need 5 years, and it's going to take us 5 years to do it. I then need to find a director of football that is going to bring me the group of people, the manager, the players, the coaches, the recruitment team, to then deliver that 5-year goal. And then you build it from there. But the problem with Spurs is, and it happens all the time, and I always say this, what do these owners want? Because they never come out and say, we want to do this. And because of that, we end up breaking projects, we end up sabotaging projects. We always look rudderless, because I truly believe Enoch don't have that objective for trophy success, and then it trickles down. That's my view with it.
That's the problem. That's been the problem. If the new owners or these new owners, Enoch Mark II, actually are serious about getting there, then they've got to say, right, that's our end goal. We're starting the journey. How do we get on that journey now? Because that's what it is. You know, you look at people look at. I've got kids starting a career. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do with your career? Where do you want to get to? How are you going to get to? But you've got to have an aim. You've got to have you've got to know where you want to go before you plan your journey. And I think that's all still saying. And again, you've got to have these owners have actually got to say, do we want footballing success? And if they do, absolutely fantastic. All I've ever wanted are owners that want footballing success. There's no guarantee they're going to get there. But
sure,
but that's give it
100%. That's a vision, not a philosophy. These are two very different things, right?
Philosophy has no purpose. Philosophy has no purpose without a goal. There's no purpose.
Anyone can stand up and say, we want to win a Premier League. Newcastle's owners stood up and said, we want to win the Premier League, right? We all know it's not happening. We all know it's not happening anytime soon, right? So if you're going to go and sell that as a philosophy to any new player joining, they're going to go, well, you don't
sell the philosophy, Sava. You don't sell the philosophy. The philosophy has to have meaning. The philosophy means nothing if you don't have a goal attached to it.
Sure, but an end goal in 5 to 10 years of winning the Premier League isn't really anything. It's words, right? The club needs.
That's why we are the club we've become, Sava. We're nothing but
I'm talking about the club. The club needs a philosophy before we worry about what we're going to win. The club needs a philosophy of how are we going to play? What type of players
Sava,
are
can I
we
ask you a
going
question then? Can I ask you a question on this? If your philosophy is to play possession-based football on the front foot and to dominate possession of the ball so that you can score goals and your opposition can't. Let's say that's your philosophy. Right. What is the point of it, though? What is it the philosophy is trying to accomplish?
Yeah, sure, but the problem with this, this is nice and pie in the sky theory.
No, so I'm asking you a question. What is the philosophy's point? Why have that philosophy? For what? It's a question.
It's different for every football club, right? It's different because
for Tottenham, what would be the philosophy for then? Why would we have that philosophy at Tottenham?
What, the short term, the medium term, the long term? What are we looking at?
Short, medium, and long term. For what purpose?
Well, so the short term isn't to win Premier League titles, is it? The medium term isn't to win Premier League titles. The long term
league titles take time, though, right? So what would be your main reason for having a philosophy? What would be your main reason for having it as a club?
So that the football club can have an identity for 10, 15, 20 years moving forward, so that we have something that we are.
Yeah, for what reason, though? What is the purpose of that? Why do you want that?
Still, I know what you're trying to back me in. I see what you do. You're very clever. Ideally,
I'm not trying to back you. It's a serious question.
I'm trying to answer. Ideally, it is so you can win the league, right? And the big trophies. Every club can say that. But there are clubs out there. There are clubs smaller than us that don't have that as their aim, that have a philosophy and identity. So how have Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, how have these clubs got a philosophy and an identity? How have they got a vision and plan when we know they're never going to win a Premier League title?
And that's why they don't win anything. And us as fans won't buy into that for much longer if we're not winning
that's
trophies.
not why they don't win anything. That's not
Hang on,
why they don't
have
win
them-
anything.
well,
Come on,
Brighton-
sorry.
Hang on, Brighton and Brentford. I don't think they've got a plan. They certainly have a plan for their succession on the pitch, but they excel in one particular division of football management, right? Which is their succession plans because of data. Like that's one element of how to run a football club, and obviously it's an area that Tottenham are terrible in. But that's not necessarily the same as having goals and ambitions as a football club, is it? They're two different things, right? They just double down on their skill sets and their capabilities. But are Brighton and Brentford as extraordinarily good at the commercial side of the game, or are they as extraordinarily good as having a youth system?
Sure,
Probably
but
not.
Sure. Why won't they
like
ever win a? Why won't Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, those clubs? Would you agree they're all very well run football clubs with a philosophy, with a way of playing, with a good scouting network, with a succession plan? Would you agree with that?
I don't know. Like, I think no. Again, like I think that they have succession plans. Like Brentford know if they're going to sell a player, because they're a team that are always going to sell their best players. They know that it would behoove them to have scenarios in place where they know the next guy that's going to come in. But I wouldn't necessarily say that Brighton play the same style of football under Hotspur as they did under Roberto De Zerbi or under Graham Potter. I think there's been pivots to their system. I would also say that Brentford don't do the same thing.
Wheelhouse, isn't it? It's in the same wheelhouse that Brighton, the types of players they sign for each of these managers, no manager's going to play the exact same, right? No manager's going to play the exact same. You look when Pep left Barcelona and like Luis Enrique goes in there, they both play a version of the kind of tick-a-tack possession-based football, but it's different.
What you've done there is you've assumed that every club has the same goal. Brighton's goal was to get into the Premier League, right? That and there has to be that starting goal. Our goal's bigger because we're a bigger club. Our goal should be to win the Premier League. That should be our goal. Brentford's goals might be survive, just in the Premier League. Every club's got a different goal.
Sure, I just think you put ours too high. I don't think ours is to win a Premier. I don't think it is to win a Premier League. I don't think
we don't have a goal, Sam. Spurs don't have any goals.
Which teams outside of the traditional Big Five do you think have actual ambitions around winning Premier Leagues? Do you think Newcastle, Villa? Do you think those two teams do? Do you think they have? Well, what are Newcastle doing to achieve that?
No,
doesn't your goal change? Doesn't it change in certain circumstances? I.e., Leicester's never goal was to win the Premier League, but when ultimately you have to go for the best, and wherever you fall. I'm always a believer is you aim as high as you can. If you can't get there, you just keep working towards that, rather than aim for a 10th, get 10th, and be like, oh yeah, I've done my goal.
Didn't Phil Nicholson say something like that? I can't remember the exact quote. Wasn't there a quote like that? Like,
I don't know. But I would always aim high and foul than aim low and succeed. Personally, that's something I've always stood by. I agree with you that Leicester, when they started that season, wouldn't have been win the league. But 10 games in, 15 games in, it definitely would have been right. Let's go for the league now.
They moved the goals. They're the goal. They moved the.
Yeah, but that's a short term thing, isn't it, James? That's in one season. I'm talking about Spurs as a football club. I'm talking about year on year, people knowing, right, that's a Spurs type player. That's
but I think of course.
Player, right?
But I think what Stell is saying, and I actually got to say I agree with him. The long-term goal should be to say win the title, for example. But whether you get there or not, you have to be working towards that. So the first season, get 10th, get 8th, get 6th, get 4th, get 3rd, get 2nd. That's what you should be aiming for. And I think that's all still fair. Once you have your goal, you then say, right, this is our starting lineup. We'll add. I mean, at the start of the season, we'll have a Savio. Okay, we'll add a Morgan Gibbs. What? Okay, now we're expected 7th. Get 7th. Right now, we go again.
Sure, but you don't have a philosophy on just can we win a title. This is the thing, right? If as a football club we don't have a philosophy, we're just going to keep going around in circles, whether we win Premier League titles or not. Like this is the point. Unless we actually implement, what are we? First of all, what do we want to be as a football team? Right. Lang came out, didn't he? Whatever you think of him, Lang came out in January and said, we want to be a team that plays on the front foot, that presses, that keeps possession of the ball. That's historically how Spurs play. We want to play that way. Cool. All right. Then implement that philosophy. Implement that from the top down, buy the players that suit that, and then you can get better and better and better. I'm not disagreeing with Still. Everyone in the chat saying Sava needs better ambition. I'd love to win the Premier League, but look where we are right now. Our
Talk is
immediate
cheap as well, right? Just say anyone can say. I can sit there and say, I want a 6-pack. Oh, cool.
Exactly.
What are you
No,
doing?
but Sean, if you've got a goal,
are you going to the gym?
That's not a goal then.
No, I'm not
But
going
that's
to
not
the
a
gym.
goal.
I'm drinking.
No, Sean, no, that's not a goal. No, Sean, hold on. That's not what you've said is not a goal because you don't mean it. If you have a goal, you mean it. You don't mean it.
I hear you,
just
but
saying
anyone,
it 'cause it sounds cool.
of course. Well, no, I do have a goal, but I'm just not going about the means to do it. I'd like to have a 6-pack. I do.
No, don't you
So you
go to
don't
the
have a
gym,
goal. You don't. So it's not a goal. It's just a fantasy. That's not a goal. That's a
I just
fantasy.
I just don't have the willpower and the discipline to be able to activate on it.
So it's not a goal of yours in life. Whereas your goal is to grow your channel, and you're doing it. You're growing your channel. That's a goal of yours. Because you
Isn't
mean
it a fantasy to just say, if the owners came out Still, right? Let's be fair. The owners came out, didn't they? Vinay and Levy came out in a video. We all saw it. It looked like they were on a Tinder date, right? They came out in that video at the beginning of the summer, said, winning the Europa League isn't enough. We want a challenge on all 4 fronts. They then went and had a summer that said absolutely the opposite to we want a challenge on all 4 fronts. And then you've got the media this year going, well, this manager or that manager needs to be sacked because they're not fighting on all 4 fronts. So Sean is right. You can talk about it, but you've got to put the baby steps in place to...
But Sava, they lied. Sava, they lied. They didn't mean a fucking word of what they said.
But still, if we're not winning titles, which we're not going to for a very long time, right? Yeah. If we're not winning titles, at least have a philosophy in place and a way of playing, a style that we can all get.
Have your first goal as winning the FA Cup. Start smaller. Let's just win an FA Cup. Let's start.
Sure, but a philosophy of football isn't about just winning an FA Cup. This is the point. The trophy argument. We want to win trophies, but your philosophy is about the club and how we're perceived. It shouldn't just be we want to play. Hang on.
Do you think? Yeah, go on.
It shouldn't just be we want to play attractive front-footed football to win an FA Cup. It should be this is what we are as a team, and then the rest will come from that. But you're going about it. I want to win a Premier League title, right? Right, all these players we're going to try and sign. Guys, we want to win a title. Going to go, well, what
No, hold on. It's far more complicated than just sign players to win the title. Do you think Arsenal, when they hired Arteta, it was, let's build a philosophy, or do you think it was, right, we want to win the league, let's build a plan that wins the league? Because I think that's what Arsenal did. I don't think they focused on philosophy. I think they focused on what have we got to do to win the league. That's what I think Arsenal did.
Sure, but using the Arsenal system, Arsenal was 6 years in, right?
Yeah, it takes time. I said 5 years, didn't I?
Yeah. Arsenal was 6 years in. I'm talking about how can Spurs build a really good football team if we don't know the philosophy? And that was, I think, James's point. This all started with James saying, how do you go out and convince XYZ player to come? And I said,
but
have a philosophy so they can buy into it.
See, this is where I disagree. I think you have a goal, and then the goal is what you sell to the players. But you say to the players, this is going to take 5 years, and in the first year, we're going to build the style of play that eventually gears up to being so good that we attract better players to achieve the goal. But I think the goal has to come first. I firmly believe when we start.
What are you buying in year 1 and saying, don't worry, in year 6, we're going to win the league, join us in year 1?
Well, Arteta completely changed the squad over 6 years. There was a lot of turnover until he got the squad he's got now. Only Saka survived. Saka survived.
Fans always want one thing and then react to something other, right? They say, give me a plan. Give me a 5-year plan to win the Premier League. Let's say that Vinay came out and said that, right? Or Joe Lewis said that. We've had a lobotomy. In 5 years, by 2030, we want to be challenging for the title. It's a 5-year plan. It's a 5-year plan. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, wow, we've got something. Okay, let's hold you to it. Year 1, we're going to sign Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough, right? And we're going to go and sign whatever. And then all you're going to hear is the fans who will immediately react to that and say, once again, no ambition. Once again, kicking the can. Once again, finding excuses. So, like, no one's got the patience for 5 years now. We don't even know if we're going to be around in 5 days, let alone 5 years. Yeah. So it's all very well hearing it and saying, I want to hear that. But then when that happens, then they'll say, in accordance with our 5-year plan, these things take time. Right now, we have to go about a rebuild, which is going to include buying more kids so that by 2029, 2030, these kids are 24 years old and have grown together, yada, 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 yada. No one's going to want to hear that. Everyone wants to hear that there's a £100 million player coming in tomorrow.
The interesting thing is, though, that you
Look,
had,
hold on.
hang on. You had 5 years. Hang on,
Okay.
Snell. You had 5 years. You had 5 years of Poch before the last 3 months where he got that went pear shaped.
The last
He finished
year.
fifth, third, second, third, fourth. Finished fourth in that last season. The last full season, he still finished fourth, and he got Champions League football. I remember because that trip to Leipzig was horrendous. And people love Poch. Didn't win anything. Got set runners up in the Champions League, runners up in the Premier League, runners up in the League Cup. But people loved him. But they saw something happening. They saw something evolving year by year. It was improving year by year. The players for the first 2 or 3 years, you could see, first 3 years were getting better every season. The team was improving. And
Lubo, it wasn't just in, mate. Under context, I was driving home this morning, and I was listening to on the radio. You know the Conte rant that came after the Southampton the 3-3 draw, the 2-2 draw that was like a penalty, 3-3 draw. Had we won that game, had we not conceded that penalty that Pape Sarr, like it was a cheap penalty anyway, it's a disgraceful penalty. Had we won that game, we would have been third.
Yep.
We would have been third. That was 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. After finishing fourth.
Yeah. So the decline, the relative decline, feels like we've been shit for a long time. But as I say, Ange finished fifth. We finished fourth the year before, and we were third place in Conte's second year before he decided to pull his hair out and go after one. It's just that the drop off has been so significant in the last 2 years. But relatively, we would have been third going into, what was it? It was in March that happened. It was in March.
Yeah. 3 years ago, Sean.
Because there's no goal, and when there's no goal, there's no plan, and when there's no plan, you keep chopping, changing managers, players, recruitment officers. It becomes a mess. And what we're in now is a mess because there's no.
Still, you're not building your house on concrete. You're building it on quicksand, and it's like you get a few years, it's okay, and then it crashes again, and then you got to start.
Do we all agree? Do we all agree? There's no plan. We all agree on that, isn't there? There's just no plan.
There hasn't been a plan for 2 decades. Yeah.
No
plan for
3 decades.
We agree on that.
3 decades. Yeah. But do you know what we get confused still? I think fans get confused about the moment versus the bigger picture. So, like, for example, as I said, under Poch, I thought we had a brilliant team, right? I think we all agree the 11 under Poch in the main for those years was brilliant.
Very good.
But there was no plan, was there still? There was absolutely no plan in and around that. What happens when that breaks up? What happens? What's the succession plan? How are we going to build? There was no plan. It was just There
was. Poch went to Levy at the end of the 2017 when we left the lane and said, this team is now starting to go down. We need a rebuild. I need some money. That's what the plan was.
But there was no plan for that.
There's no plan. That's the point, Lubo. If there was a plan,
correct.
No, but hang on, if there was a plan, you wouldn't have to wait till the end of the season for the manager to go to the board and go, this team's falling apart. If there was a plan, you do what City have done all these years, and Liverpool, they see players going out or getting ready to end their contracts, and you've got new players coming in.
Have Liverpool figured out the succession plan for Mo Salah?
Okay, but we could say one player, but in the main, we're talking about Liverpool who win things year after year after year after year, different teams that evolve. Spurs have never had that. With any of our top players have left, we've never had any plan. And if they had, Lubo, a plan isn't a manager going to the board at the summer and going, I need this. The plan is, right, we know those 2 players probably got another good year, 2 years in them. Right. What are we doing in the background?
Succession plan.
Right, succession plan. And so if anyone could tell me a plan we've had in the last 25 years, I'm here for it.
There hasn't been, has there?
Right. We've had a few good teams under Harry. We had a really good team under Harry. No plan. No succession plan behind it. With Poch, no succession plan behind it. There's a difference between having a good team in a moment or in a season and a plan. Like Conte was always going to end like that, wasn't it? It was always going to end like that.
Yeah.
Because he's a winner. We're not. It was always going to happen.
I mean, look at right back. Walker was replaced.
Lubo, just so you know, we still haven't gone through the super chats. It's been 45
okay,
minutes.
right. Sorry.
No, say what you want to say. No, say what you want to say, but we've still got.
No, just very quickly. Walker to Trippier to Aurier to ultimately Porro.
Yeah, it's
Poor.
no plan.
Anyway, sorry. Super chats.
Yeah, we've got quite a few left. I think this is probably going to be for Sav, not the channel, but we'll read it anyway. Thank you,
This is
Eugene.
aimed at me.
Frank played a low block with defenders in their positions, and Paulinho couldn't make us hard to beat. But Tudor's expected to magically fix that. Sav, you can answer it, then we'll move on to the next super chat.
Do you know what's very funny about this? And I know people like Eugene, they talk from the heart, but they don't actually go and look at the data. Somebody sent me today, and I think that person is in the chat. Someone sent me today the swing of Spurs this year from how we started with Paulinho and Bentancur in the double pivot to when Spurs stopped playing that and they showed that we were like that, and then it went like that. That's why I blame Frank. He should not have been weak, and he should have left Bentancur and Paulinho in front of the back four, sod what the fans wanted, sod that they didn't enjoy the football. It wasn't conceding goals, and it was getting points. And from that moment, it went downhill. I'll send you boys the data afterwards, right? But like Eugene said, you're the only one who looks at the data, but that's how you judge it, right? You can see that the drop-off from when he stopped doing that is massive. And that's why I judge Frank. He should have been stronger. And I don't expect you to automatically fix it. Eugene, people like you wanted Frank out. So the new manager's job is to come in and make... Sorry, does everyone on this panel agree? The new manager's job in a relegation battle is to come in and make us hard to beat and win points. Surely, wasn't that his job?
He needs to keep us up. He needs to keep us up.
That's his job.
As he gives up. Eugene, you have been given an answer. Russell Coit, thank you very much. Loving the show with 5 of my favourite Spurs YouTubers. I think that means Johnny's been dropped. Am I joking? On my birthday morning in Oz. Happy birthday to you, Russell.
Happy birthday, Russell. Happy birthday, mate.
Many happy returns.
Yeah.
If Tudor goes, then what?
Guy's a legend. He's always got nice things to say about everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell is a legend. If Tudor goes, then what? This is the last chance saloon now. We said that when we brought in Tudor. This is last chance saloon.
There's rumours. Romano's just tweeted saying Roberto De Zerbi has always been a main candidate for Tottenham job in the summer. If Spurs stay in the Premier League, top target, as always reported since he left Marseille. With Pochettino, another name on the shortlist. De Zerbi to Spurs is currently only a topic for June. But there's someone else that's just tweeted as well saying that there's a chance that he might come in earlier, as in like probably in the next weeks or whatever, on a permanent, but he would have a relegation release clause inserted into his contract so that if we go down, then he can get out of jail.
Okay, fair enough.
De Zerbi would be absolute fire for content every single week. There's going to be absolute fireworks.
Can I ask you a quick question? Whilst we're in the midst of a relegation battle and the fans are doing these big parades on the high street saying, back the team, we're with you, and is it wise to be talking about the next manager while we've still got a manager here that we're supposed to be backing with the players?
Yeah, but do you not think, like, as much as it's tragic about his dad, right? Absolutely tragic, and RIP and all those things, thoughts with the family. That right now it would probably be, isn't it the right time to say, listen, you've got bigger things going on,
It's a get out of jail card, yeah.
The club could sort of use that and say, look, given the kind of the severity of the situation at Tottenham and given what he's going through. But what I'm saying, Sean, is if they don't bring in De Zerbi now, is it wise to be talking about the next manager now if he's not going to come in now when we're supposed to be backing this manager with the players? Is this clever or is this just ridiculous what we're doing? Well, this is what journalists do, don't they? They've got to put out their content. Yeah. They've got to spin their stuff.
If you were De Zerbi, would you come in now? Would you?
Well, if you had a relegation release clause put in so that if you don't work, you can piss off, and if you have a stay up bonus, then
De Zerbi
it's a fucking win-win. There's no risk.
Mate, De Zerbi and the Lewis family. What could possibly go wrong?
It's going to be absolute fireworks.
Mate, you know what?
Fireworks.
next season or anyway. Okay. Sean _Hell, thank you very much. The highest paid for the championship team is highest price paid for championship team 700k. So Enoch ain't getting 3 billion after Relegation. Let's hope not. Let's hope not is what I say. Ledley's knees, hello, thank you. Brighton owner might win in Scotland this season.
Yes, with Hearts.
Yeah.
With Hearts.
Amazing.
Are you allowed to own two clubs?
Tony,
Are you allowed to
Tony.
own two clubs?
He doesn't own it. He doesn't own it full. I think he's got a minority stake, but he's gone in there and put his data model to work, and it's
wherever he goes, he makes something work, doesn't he?
yeah.
Mate, bring him back to Spurs for fuck's sake. Danny Kiriakou, aka Dragusin Kiriakou, how are you? The philosophy means you help with structure required in order to achieve goals at all levels. Brighton have a philosophy that helps them with their goals. Thank you, Danny, for your super chat. Quick question, guys. Quick question. Before we get onto the last bit, because it is dragging, the rumours we've been linked with directors of football managers, whatnot. Very quickly, let's go around the table. These are the remaining fixtures. Are we staying up or are we getting relegated? We all said that this Forest game was the one. I'm happy to go first on this. I'm saying today Spurs are going down. Spurs are going to get relegated.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What's your take? We've got Sunderland away, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home, which is the only game I think we're going to win. Chelsea away and Everton at home. I actually think we beat Leeds at home, but the rest we'll be lucky to get draws, mostly losses.
I don't think we're going to win at home. I think the stadium is like a poison chalice. It's insane. I think we've got a better chance away from home. You know, I think we might be able to get a few draws away from home. Maybe a win. But
was it bad this week though, Sean? Because it sounded good on the telly.
No, it was the atmosphere was fantastic for the first half. I think I have this. I go because the queue to get a beer at halftime is a nightmare. So I always leave to get my beer at 43 minutes, and the amount of times that Tottenham concede when I'm getting a beer, and it really winds me up because in the little cubby hole where they got the beer thing, they've got a TV, but they don't show the game on that TV. But every other TV out in the concourse, they show the game on. And I always I'm really annoyed because I don't get to watch the last. So I didn't actually see the first goal that Forest scored because I was queuing up, and it happens every time. It literally happens every time. I think as I was walking out, I was like, please, Tottenham, please, Lord, if you're up there listening, do us a favour. Just get us in 0-0. Don't concede. And then all of a sudden I could just hear the kind of distant cheer because the away fans down the other end of the stadium. And then just a whole bunch of people going, oh, for fuck's sake, fucking Tottenham. And then from then on, the atmosphere just died. So, you know.
So Sean, are we going down?
Yeah, we're going down.
I
think we're going down. Yeah.
You believe Spurs are going to get relegated now? Then is that what you're
at the moment? I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. As I said when I first came in, I was walking down the high road, talking. Random people come up to me and talking, and I was like, after this, if the players don't perform today, we absolutely cooked, right? But and everybody was like, yeah, don't worry, we're going to win. There's no chance that this isn't going to have impacted them. And like I say, the players let their heads drop when they ran out of ideas in the second half. Some of the most infuriating thing about watching Tottenham in the stadium is in the second half of games when we're chasing a game and then we win a free kick and Porro takes it or Vicario takes it and they stand there for like 35, 40 seconds basically going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's like they actually have no idea what to do with the ball in the second half of football. It's so depressing to watch because it's not like they're getting beat, like they're beating themselves with just a lack of clarity, a lack of I don't know, plan, I guess. The lack of plan on the ball is crazy, you know.
So I've said relegation. Sean is now saying Relegation or relegation.
I'm certainly not saying Relegation. I don't want Relegation. I'm just saying I think it's the last thing I want.
I need to bounce. Can I
let's
give
go
my
to
answer
Sava.
and then I need to go.
For it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
but
Face are coming
I'm going to say I think if we keep Tudor, I think we're down. I think he's absolutely horrific. But in the same breath, I don't trust these guys to bring anyone in. At the moment, it looks like we're down, doesn't it? It looks like we're down. I really hope I'm wrong.
Do you think we're going to go down though, Sava? Because I actually think we are going down now. I do.
At the moment, I can't see where a win comes from, mate. I can't listen. Wolfie said something that was quite interesting the other day. He said, look, all fans at this stage of the season start looking and going, we'll win that, we'll win that. He said, you'll probably win one of the games that you least expect.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, I can't see any win. I think we look absolutely shocking going forward. We look wide open in midfield and we look shocking at the back. I don't know how it changes. The only thing that I think could happen is if he does leave and you get, I don't know, a Sherwood, a Redknapp that breathes just a bit of positivity that scrapes a win.
Absolutely fantastic.
And if not, we're going to have to pray that West Ham don't get any points, even though their next game is at home to Wolves before we play. So we could be bottom 3 still by the time we start our next game. So at the moment, I can't see it. I really hope I'm wrong. I can't see it.
Sava, I said to you, if West Ham beat Wolves and West Ham go above us before we play our game and we drop into that bottom 3, we're not coming out of it. I think that pressure, we're going to just burst.
Yeah, they can't play a pressure. But for all we know, right, we could go to Sunderland and get a win out of nowhere, right? But
we can.
We have been saying that for 13 games now, haven't we? We've been saying for 13 games, we're going to win this one, and they're not winning any of them. But look, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Hope I'm wrong. Listen, if we stay up by the skin of our teeth, lessons need to be learned. But at the moment, are these players going to play for anyone? I don't know. Can anyone get anything out of them? I don't know. We'll see. Cheers.
See yourself.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Do you know what I would say about that Sunderland game? Because they beat Newcastle, that puts them back in the hunt for a European place. So we're playing teams that have got something to fight for, which is what you don't want. Really, you want to play teams that are either they know they're not going to go down or they're not going to get Europe, but we don't. We've got teams
like Palace, yeah.
Well, but Palace were kind of still in the relegation fight until they played us, so they did have something. But Lubo, what do you reckon? Are we going down, in your opinion, or do you think we will stay up? Because you've always said you think we're going to stay up just.
After the shambles that was yesterday, in terms of the team selection and what he did with the midfield and the front line, how he played the tactics, substitutions, the added fact that he is going to be devastated now, having lost his father. I think we are. If we keep him, I don't think we will. If we keep Tudor, we're going down. I think they'll go for Sherwood. And I think I'm still optimistic we'll stay up. But they've got to bring, if Sherwood comes in, you need someone who knows the club. It's someone who knows the Premier League.
If Tudor stays, do you think we're staying up or going down? If he stays,
if he stays, we're going down.
So you're like Sava. Depends if we get rid of the management.
Depends if we get rid, yeah.
In fact, I didn't ask Sean that question. Sean, if we change manager, do you think we will stay up, or do you think it's too late now? It's gone. I think it's too late. Regardless, I think it's gone.
Well, I definitely think it's too late if Tudor stays. Right. I just think that after that performance in the second half, I think the players just heads dropped again. So, and I think also Igor Tudor's, if he does come back, his head's not going to be in it. His head probably wasn't in it anyway. Like the only thing positive I said about Igor Tudor was that he was growing on me because of his give a shit. I used to love the way that he just takes no prisoners with the press conferences and stuff. But you can make the argument that reason why he's been so give a shit is because he doesn't really care. Because he's only here for a short term, and he's not going to affect him either way. Now that his dad's passed, his head's going to be all over the place, right? I don't even know if it was a surprise that his dad passed or whether his dad was ill or whatever. But if it, either way, it's going to rock you. So, are you really going to have your head in the game? And did you even have your head in the game really beforehand? So, if he stays, I think we're toast. If we change, I think it's a Hail Mary. It might work. Depends who it is. I don't rate Tim Sherwood. I think the guy's an absolute bozo. I think he's an absolute.
Didn't he relegate a club that he went to? I'm sure he went to a club and they got relegated.
No. He came in as an interim. I think was it after Villas-Boas, and he got a 59% win rate. Still,
I'm sure he got relegated.
Was it 8 games or 11 games or something? It wasn't a long time, was it?
No.
But I just don't rate. I don't like the guy. I think the guy's personality rubs me up the wrong way. He's so cocky, but without much substance to it. The way that he sold his job, that he should be the guy to take over Tottenham, and then when Igor Tudor gets it, he was like, why would you take the Tottenham job? Lose. I don't know. The guy just, to me, just I don't think he's done anything. I don't even rate him as a pundit, let alone as a manager. So he's not the guy for me. Harry Redknapp, I don't know, like lovely guy, like, absolutely fantastic for my ability to do content, absolutely sensational. But I don't know if the players will even know who he is. Like most of these 18-year-olds wouldn't even know who Harry Redknapp is. And if you go for an even bigger Hail Mary, like something like a De Zerbi, I mean, that might work, but it also might fucking just send us over the edge.
So just to clarify, the only chance we've got of staying up is sacking Tudor, but no one knows who to bring in to do it.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Yeah. I think Redknapp talked himself, possibly, if he was ever going to be considered. I think he talked himself out of the job by talking about his conversation with Levy, and Levy would have brought him in. I don't think that probably would have gone down that well with the owners, bearing in mind the bad blood there is between the Lewis family and Daniel Levy. So I don't see Harry Redknapp coming in, which personally I think is a real shame. I think he would have lifted the place. And you know what? These guys, experience is key in these situations. They know, and he will know how to deal with a relegation fight. He's been there a few times. So for me, it's a shame. It's a shame, but I don't see Harry coming. If they do get rid of Tudor, I mean, they're talking about this Monaco. The guy was at Monaco, Hooter. I mean, another one, absolutely ridiculous. No experience of Premier League football. Never played in the Premier League. Doesn't even know about it.
Andy Hooter. Do you know what? Someone put in a funny chat earlier. They said, "Sure, I say."
If it's again, it could be. And that's from, is it John Percy of the Telegraph? I mean, who knows?
I put in Andy Hooter into Google and it said Aldi butter. So there you go, Aldi butter. Listen, it's all rumours. No one knows. James, let's get James's view quickly. James, everyone said this was the must-win game, and we didn't even get a draw. We lost. Do you think Spurs are getting relegated, or do you think it's the manager? Or no?
No. Think so.
No,
I think they will sack the manager anyway. I think he's done now. I think that they've got their alibi, and to be honest, he's probably thinking the last thing he wants to do is come back to Tottenham with family needs and stuff. So, for me personally, I believe he's gone already. I just think it's a matter of having a bit of dignity and a bit of respect for his family and loved ones, rather than go, oh, your dad's passed, and by the way, get your bag, you're gone and all. Like, I just think there's a bit of dignity to it. Hence why we're now seeing loads of managers linked kind of daily.
Yeah.
How many Tottenham players are going to go away on international duty?
I don't know.
Romero,
Hold on.
Doki, I think.
Get the old program. For me personally, I think someone like Bergvall coming back is going to be quite big. I feel Polina coming back, Xavi. If we can get Kudus fit, I think that I don't want an interim manager either. I said that when we got Tudor. I don't want an interim. I feel like the interim manager gives the players the free ride. I feel like it's like, well, he ain't going to be here anyway. I'll do my bit if I can be bothered. If not, then not. For me, it has to be a permanent manager that gets them all into side and says to them, you don't back your ideas up, mate. You ain't leaving and you ain't playing. Sort it out. Whereas if Tudor does that, it's like, well, you're going anyway, mate. So who cares? Yeah. So for me, you have to get a permanent manager in. And I think that the players, when they come back, will have, more attacking quality. I think your Kudus is going to be huge. Hopefully the guy puts Xavi left wing, Kudus right wing, Bergvall or Gallagher in the cam. And I think you'd have enough then to pull you through. I think you could win the Leeds game. You could win the Everton game. You could win
Brighton as well.
No, I think you get a draw or something there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And I am clutching at straws there, to be honest. But I feel like with the players coming back, Kudus for me is vital. he is going to beat his man every single time and deliver, right? He did that. Look at Richarlison's goals at the start of the season. He was doing that time
James,
and
aren't we
time.
asking a lot though from a player that's been out for a heck of a long time just to suddenly
Absolutely.
come back?
If
Yeah,
you have a left
absolutely.
winger now with Matisse Tell, though, who I think the players are also they trust him to be able to do certain things as well. I'm not suggesting that Tell's like a world-class player at the same level as Kudus, but I'm just saying that you can attack down both fronts. And so one of the benefits when you just had Kudus on the right and you had no left winger, then every single time we got the ball, we fed it down to Kudus. And so it's very easy for the other teams to double man mark him or even 3-man up at times. Whereas if you have someone in the midfield who can get the ball out to either wing, and then you can afford to leave, Matisse Tell hugs the touchline.
I thought he come off injured. I thought he was quite a bad injury, weren't it like holding his knee or something?
I don't know. That's why I read.
I read today. I read today. I don't know where, but it wasn't a. It was taken off like injured. It wasn't a sub. It was a.
James, if Tudor stays, do you think we still stay up or not?
Yeah, I do. I do. Purely because I feel like West Ham are going to win 2 or 3 games, and I believe that Maddison will be back for the last 2 or 3 games. Kudus will be back after the international break.
Maddison hasn't kicked a ball in over a year.
I know, and I'm clutching at straws there. I know, but I would rather clutch at those straws than not have them at all.
That is, it's a fair play.
Still, I think there'll be something 13, 14 players going away on international duty. I think from the squad, Vicario, Dragerson, Danso, Paulinia, Simmons is 5, Richarlison 6. Tell's injured now, isn't he? I'm not sure about Udogie. Gray will be under 21, 7. Bergvall 8. No, sorry, Bergvall I don't think will be. Romero 8, Solanke 9. Where are we? Porro 10. Spencer
How has Solanke been called up for England? I don't know.
Spencer 11. Saar 12. Van der Ven.
Can I ask you guys a question? How many of these players come back uninjured?
Van der Ven 13. Moani's been picked for the French squad, I think.
No way. You joking, Lubo, or what?
I don't know.
Tell was called up as well to, but I think that's the under 21s, though, was it?
Yeah, yeah, he'll be injured now, won't he? So.
A couple more super chats very quickly. Sniller32, thank you for your very generous super chat. He says, "Hi guys, thanks
nice.
for another top show." And then Ryan, how you doing, mate? To everyone, after the change for Tottenham, can they really be trusted in what they say? I don't believe them anymore. What do you think of them, and can they be trusted? Ryan, I'll tell you what. Go back to the start of the show. We covered our thoughts and views. So go back to the start rather than us just repeating it again. And then there's a bit when Sean comes in late, and then he also covers it. So go check out those 2 parts of the show, and we covered that whole topic. All right. I'm not trying to deflect, but otherwise we're just going to repeat ourselves again for another 30 minutes. Should we save the other bit for another show? Because we're going to struggle for content anyway. So
we got Thursday. We've got a gentleman coming in.
Don't give the guest away.
No, we got a gentleman coming on who will be very interesting.
I met him on the high road, mate. I met him on the high road. He came up to me and said hello on the way to the stadium. Very nice guy. Had a little chat with him. Very nice guy.
Did you? You met him?
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for watching. As always, smash like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We will have this out on podcast as well. So tell your friends, family, and all Spurs fans in the world. Okay, the discount code 5. Get your apparel and all that sports clobber. Thanks for watching. Anyone else want to say anything? Or
no, just everybody keep their spirits up. We're going through tough times.
Yeah. And I would just say, Relegation, baby. We're closing in. All right, I'll leave it there. Bye. Take care, Jeff.
Bye, Joel.
Bye-bye.